Okay, I hope you can hear me. Can everybody hear me this morning? I hope so. Let's see. Yes. Can you hear me? It looks like it's active. Anyway, I'm starting it a little bit differently today. I don't have my little sidekick, at least in the beginning, because the last couple of weeks, he was very successful in knocking me offline. But today, we're going to be doing something a little bit differently. I'm keeping a monster out. Now, he's been trying to break the door down. He finally calmed down, so hopefully it'll stay that way. I don't know if you noticed, but the camera seems to be a little straighter, and the computer is actually running better than it was. And I'll tell you what happened. If you've seen my videos during the week, you probably noticed that my countertop, which holds the computer and monitor, it basically collapsed. And what it was is the old monitor mount was bolted to the top, and the wood had been eaten by termites. And it was just one of those things that needed to be fixed. So I took a couple of hours and I went ahead and I actually rebuilt what was termite eaten, and I put a couple of pieces. I put a 1x4 in there, and I put a furring strip, and I had to ride my bike over to Harbor Freight. I had a little time off last week between the jobs I was doing, and I was able to fix it. So now this computer is actually sitting perfectly on this mount. Instead of being tilted this way, it's level. So you probably notice that I look a little bit better. Then again, let's see, sitting on this thing here. Then again, according to the vegans, I look extremely unhealthy. And I have a lot of people, well, not a lot, but I have the occasional troll that says, "Oh, that Rick guy looks terrible. Oh, you look at what the carnivore did to him. It made his eyes dark. It made him skinny and all this." I said, "Yeah, but have you ever seen some of the vegan influencers? I mean, seriously, just take a look at Dr. Michael Greger and see what he looks like. Yes, I'm as skinny as a vegan. I don't even weigh 200 pounds. I weigh only about 190 pounds, and I'm 6'6". So I'm skinny enough to pass as a vegan. But on the other hand, I think that being a vegan, I would look terrible. If you've ever looked at the skin of the vegan influencers, and I've seen this over and over again, you get a close look at their skin and you'll see that there's these little dark spots, these age spots. Once they get into their 50s, they all look like that. And thankfully, I don't have that appearance. So I think in many ways I'm doing pretty well. Well, anyway, enough of me. You're the ones that really count. So I bring the live stream on so that I can talk to some of you, at least on a more personal level. Now, I don't have any kind of stream set up yet. In fact, I was playing with OBS a couple of days ago and it actually ran on this computer, which I still can't figure out how fixing the computer mount and cleaning up the wiring made the computer run better. But before this, the computer would speed up the fan. It sounded like a jet airplane taking off, but now it's running quietly. And I don't know, I haven't done anything to the computer. All I did was rewire. And if you saw my video, you can see that I am very fussy about wiring. I hate having wires that hang down. Even though my house is a dump, you won't see any electrical conduits or plumbing or anything out in the open. I like to bury everything and where you can't see it. So let's see. We have 19 people here. This is really nice. Now, I appreciate you coming here. I know that the very popular. What in the world? Something fell down and the cat's not even here. I know that the very popular Mitch, the old guy carnivore, starts his at 8:30. So you can feel free to leave my stream at any time. I am not afraid of other people. I only go live once a week, which is Saturday morning, my day off, because I just want to share a little bit with you. But if you need to leave, you can leave. In most cases, when his stream is over, I'm still here. So if you go to another live stream to check out what they're doing, go ahead and come back to me if you like. And again, if you have a channel that you want to promote, you can feel free to do that here. I'm not threatened by you. I'm a person that believes that all of us should work together, and I'm not one of those people that likes to see one individual dominate any kind of field. I mean, there's a lot of people that are on the Homestead How camp, and they hundreds of people, maybe 1,000 hit those live streams, and I try to hit them too. But there's nothing wrong with catching some of us smaller YouTubers And if you're here, that means that you're one of those people that really enjoys the association. Now, I'm a poor man, so I don't have the money to travel and go to all the get-togethers that a lot of the other carnivores do. Next week they'll have Dr. Kiltz. He's going to charge I don't know $1,000 so they can see his house. In Rick's place, that doesn't cost anything. If you happen to be in the Miami area and you're one of my friends from online, you're welcome to come here for free and feed the ducks and pick the bananas or do what else you want to do. I never charge for it. If you want to have a barbecue and I have meat, I'll share it with you. Or let's say that, I don't have any meat. You could bring your own meat and we'll cook it right there in the grill. We can cook it on the ground like I do in my videos. I'm not one of those people that's going to have stupid, you know, um, club or some stupid tribe or I don't know, what do they call these things? Gang or whatever. I hate that. I think it's just ridiculous trying to make money off of people. That's pretty sad. But then again, for those of you that provide one-on-one services, you are entitled to charge money. If you're a qualified individual who is able to help someone directly with their diet, or somebody maybe you're trying to work out and you need an expert, and of course, on my channel, I have the person that I recommend, and you know who he is. So, yep, that's what I'm up to. So, let's see who we have now. We have United Carnivore. Greetings from Tampa Bay, which looks on ready for the day. Hey, that's good. Yeah, another Floridian. I love it when you're here. Sandy Blythe, good morning. Lori's Carnivore Story. Are we there yet? Good morning, all. Yes, we are. MS. I'm on full carnivore diet, day 8, and it's been really tough transition. Today I feel okay-ish. Well, MS, I don't know what your background is, but I know from experience with friends that I have, if your background is duck food, it's going to be tough. And from what I've seen, I think a lot of these processed foods, because of the MSG and the sugar, they do have a withdrawal. If you're from a healthy vegan or vegetarian background, you could be getting those plant toxins out of your system. Like my friend, my good friend, who was a vegan and vegetarian for most of his life, tried the carnivore diet and he actually failed. He was with it for 2 months, got really sick, a lot of diarrhea, gas, stomach aches, headaches. He got some kind of a flu. So I had the idea, and again, I'm not an expert on diet. I don't know anything about what do I know about medicine. But I told him, I said, why don't you try to get the best of the plant based diet and then add more meat to it? And that's what worked for him. And little by little, he is adding more and more meat. I think his goal is to become a carnivore. He was actually inspired by a channel. The guy's name was Aaron Edwards. He was online, I guess, a year or whatever ago, and he disappeared. I think a lot of times these vegan to carnivore people, they disappear from the internet because a lot of vegans are quite militant and quite unpleasant. Okay, I said good morning. William McCartney is here. Good morning. Good to see you as always. Paul McGregor, good morning from Ontario. Kitchen Witch, good morning. All happen to have Saturday off? Yes, me too. Let's see. Nourished and Rejected. Who the hell I'm on? Yeah, there you go. You're here. That's great. And she says, quack, quack. That's great. That's right. Okay. No goulash making or strudel. Okay, howdy y'all. Good morning, quackers. That's from Peter, Papa Carnivore. So Peter will be here until Mitch's stream starts, and then I'm sure he'll go there. And then after that's over, he'll probably come back here. All right. Nope, just relaxing and eating meat. Okay, that's great. So we're going to go through the conversations. Father Downey Carnivore, good morning from Melbourne. Yes, okay. And Quack Jr. Papa Carnivore is here. Yes, he is. And we have somebody else, Jerry Hall 530. Good morning, Rick. Well, good morning. I don't recognize. Okay. Maybe I'm losing my mind. All right. Who else do we have here? Let's see. Ghosts. Okay. Good morning from Michigan. Just did a live stream with Jonathan. Now listening on your stream with you and other friends. I haven't met yet. Well, I'm glad. Consider me a friend. I was watching Jonathan's live stream. And again, for those of you that are not familiar, if you're into bodybuilding, and he also covers things like neurodivergence. You have Jonathan, which is a carnivore muscle. I consider him a friend that I haven't met yet. So I try to watch his channel whenever I can. I've always been very good about it. It's sad that more people don't watch his channel. I guess they'd rather waste their time on some of the more popular channels. But this is a guy that has a lot of knowledge, and he's a rare example of someone who has both the academic knowledge and the practical knowledge. So That's the kind of people I like to watch their YouTube channel. All right, let's see what else we have. Rick the Peacemaker. Well, I try to be. Sometimes I'm not. The ghost of Milton Fast. All right, Papa Carnivore. Rick, I agree with 100% of your view that you should be allowed to promote your once a week show on someone else's live. I was worried you would be offended by Mitch. Oh, no. You know, Mitch is one of those old timers. It's kind of like my own parents. That's probably why I like him so much. He always goes after the people that he likes the most. So if he's over there giving you a hard time, that means he likes you. And I know the type. I love that type of person, and that is just fine with me. And as I said, he's welcome to come on my channel and promote his channel at any time, but he won't because I'm sure right now he's busy setting up his channel. He puts a lot of effort into it. I put very little effort into mine other than getting up and trying to make sure the sound is good. But that is going to change. I was kind of surprised that OBS actually ran in a test that I did with myself a couple days ago, and it's only a matter of time before I find another computer that's more powerful. So you might be surprised to see one day I'll have an intro, I'll have a logo, background, all that stuff, and I'll try to make myself look like some of the other YouTubers. But of course, being my channel, there's going to be a little bit of a twist to it. So if you do see those things on my channel, don't expect a 2025 feel to it. Expect more like a 1955 feel to it. You may have a static background. You may have some old-fashioned fonts, and you may have, who knows what you're going to find. But when you're on my channel, you're always going to find something a little different. Okay, let's see. Oh, good. Good morning, Rick and friends. Brenda Foley. Good morning. Hey, howdy. Good morning from Utah today. Well, good morning from Miami. Papa Carnival was surprised also. Yeah, I think he's just playing silliness. Truth is not for everyone. No, it isn't. I think most people would rather not. Oh, I see my ducks. I don't know. I don't know if I could turn this around, but if you looked at, I won't go that far, but if you looked out the window, you can see the ducks are over here waiting. I have a feeling they can hear me talking, and they figure that I got duck food for them. Oh, I love being able to look out the window and see my ducks. That's why you notice I do the live stream now from my bedroom. In fact, I could probably put this down a little bit. There we go. I've had a couple of complaints about my neon lighting being a little bit bothersome. Okay, let's see what else we have. Um, Jerry Hall. Hi, Rick. Seen you on Mitch's channel and enjoyed your views. Well, I'm glad you did. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Rick. Texas homemaker. Excellent. Good morning. Good that you're here. Hello, host. Hello, everyone. DIY my way every day. Hey, my life is DIY. I do everything myself. If you see my videos, you know, I never hire anybody. If Now, obviously, if I was older, I might have to hire somebody to do the work that I don't want to do. It's like, it's just amazing. I'm going to unplug that. I forgot to unplug my phone. I always forget to do something. I don't know how I forgot to do that, but I unplugged my phone and now that's good. Okay, so what else do we have here? Um, let's see. Good morning from Canada. He walks with me. Good morning. Rick's Carnivore Meetup. Catch iguanas and Muscovy ducks and learn how to cook on your own engine. Hey, I like that. That's my commercial. Well, hopefully, once I become financially ahead, I mean, I'm basically financially stable. I'm not in debt and I'm not starving, but I'm not thriving. This is one of the reasons I don't go to the meetups because I just don't have the money. It's not so much that they charge admission, which I find reprehensible. Now, if the meetup is providing food, then yes, you will charge admission. Although, if I had my ideal home, what I would do, I would try to get all the meat and I'd make it as a gift and just give it to everybody. But if you go to a restaurant, of course, it's going to cost you something. But to charge just to be at a meetup, I think that's wrong. I mean, I don't know. Fundraiser, yeah, that's for the rich people. Us poor people, we don't have money to spend on some silly fundraiser. We have to spend money on ourselves. And actually, even when I had money, because we all have money at times, I'd never believed in giving to any organization because organizations have a way of skimming off the top and they're just not that effective. So what I would do, I would try to invest in the friends and the people that I know that are trying to start some type of business. Maybe they have a farm. And even today, when I don't have any money to give out, I am constantly giving people advice and trying to help them fix things. I got a friend of mine that's actually he's probably poorer than me because he's in debt. He was married, divorced, has child support. He's got problems. And I was helping him fix his Bobcat and I didn't charge anything for it. So I try to do what I can if I can. All right, let's see. Watching from Lebanon. Hey, great. And Peter says, Rick, I binge watched several of your recent videos while you were riding your bike to the store. I love those. Well, I'm glad you do. I figured I would just stick the old, non-working iPhone in my pocket, put it on record, and just ride along. And you can see that I have no problem. All right, what do you got here? He walks. Yes. I like it when Rick shops too. Well, that's good, movie goats. Very, very good. So yeah, those are my favorites. So I have a feeling that those are becoming more and more popular. I always joke. I say I'm the carnivore version of that durian rider vegan guy, that wacky guy there. Okay, ancient ringtones. Well, I got a bell in my phone, so yeah, it's a call for Milton. That little monster is tearing the place up. But I locked him out and notice everything's going smoothly. I haven't been knocked offline. Also, I think rewiring my computer, tidying it up made a huge difference. And you know how much money I spent doing it? Well, I did spend 20 bucks on a power strip. That's the only money I spent. Everything else was just stuff I had laying around. And I had an old power strip, but it was stretched out. You know how a lot of times the plugs they get damaged because they've been unplugged so many times. I figured for the money, I spent 4 bucks on that little convoluted tubing, and I spent 20 bucks at Harbor Freight to get the power strip. And now it's just so convenient. And when I go to sleep, I can flip the switch off, turn everything off, and that's it. I have a strict no technology policy after midnight. At midnight, there is a timer, a mechanical timer in my living room that turns off the internet and everything. I'm generally in bed by 11:30 and the phone and all that system stays on until midnight. And I don't answer the phone. So if somebody's going to try to call me in the middle of the night. No, it's not going to work. And when I had a cell phone that was active, I used to keep it in another room and I use a device called a dock and talk that allowed me to connect to the wired phones because I hate cell phones. I don't like having that thing next to my head. Although I did find my old cell phone, which I'll show you, which I thought was kind of interesting. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Um, Kim appreciates life. Good morning. I'm listening while making my coffee, trying to not be so addicted to YouTube, and here I am. Well, you know what? There's nothing wrong with listening to YouTube. I do this a lot when I'm working, and you'll notice in a lot of these channels, I'll be commenting, and that's because, well, I listen to it sometimes. I mean, I can listen to the ducks mating when I'm home, but when I'm away working, what I'll do, I'll use my laptop, I'll get some Wi-Fi, and then I'll use the headset, which I'll show you in a little bit because that's one of those things that I like. Okay. William McCart. It's Milton calling. Okay, let me out. There are worse addictions. Yeah, I agree, Rick. I think it's crazy about the meetups. It just bothers me. I started YouTube, and one of the things I would do is go after these stupid cults, these people that try to sell you a lie that you can make money from doing nothing and a bunch of nonsense. One of the people I really can't stand is that Robert Kiyosaki. That he looks like he looks demented. This guy actually, if you look at him up close without the filter, his skin seems to have those age spots. And he was fat when he was younger, so he's probably metabolically unhealthy. All these people, I don't like them. The only one of them that was mildly entertaining was Anthony Robbins, and I think even he's still out there shilling for his products. But the rest of them, they're a joke. And I remember now they had one guy called Tom Vu. That's the one I was talking about when I was riding the bike. He had talked in some broken accent. He make money on real estate and blah blah blah. And again, I growing up in the '80s, when the Federal Reserve started that interest rate lowering crap, the real estate really started to become promoted, and Carlton Sheets and all these other people making money off of real estate. And then in the 90s, you had all the diet people. Remember that goofy lady, Susan Powter, that had like her hair sticking up and it was like white, stuff like that. I know a lot of people that got that insanity exercise. It was real popular with women for a while. When I had my business, we had a gal that was at the real estate office next door who was into that. And I think eventually she ended up homeless or something. I don't know. It's just crazy. So my concern is that the carnivore space turns into a cult of personality where people are out there trying to make money. And that's something I really don't want to see. But the good thing is, all the rest of the people can do all their things. They can have their meetups, they can have their celebrity movies and all this other stuff. But guess who's still going to be here? Still eating duck and iguana and riding his bike and working in his garden and working on his old cars and living like the 1950s or 60s. That's right, old Rick. I'm sure that I'll probably live into my 90s. I think my grandfather lived to 94. I guess when I get 94, I'll drop dead of a heart attack, and that'll be it. So that's okay. All right, let's see. I prefer to give experience and favors. Yes, I that right. If you don't have the money, you can give of your time, and that's even more valuable. I enjoy seeing the old school stuff you have. You look like a jack of all trades, and yes, I am. You are correct. Good morning, Jiffy. Good morning. Splurging on a new power strip sounds like my kind of splurge. William McCarty. Milton has a lust for life. He appreciates all you do for him. Yeah, he's a good kitty. Sometimes he's so peaceful. Other times he's a wildcat. Movie goats. I was shocked about the price of power strip recently. I think I'm still in shock about the price of everything. Yeah, I get a lot of my stuff from the trash or the dump, but you buy a few new things every now and then. Annabella the Happy Carnivore. Hi, Rick. Hi, everyone. Hello. Nourishment rejected. Hey, Rick. I unfortunately won't be able actively watching for a while. I have to make breakfast and get the kids' day started, but I'm leaving the stream open. I enjoy your spirit, courage. Well, I'm glad that you're here for whatever time you can be. If you can be here for a few minutes, that's fine. And you can always listen because my voice isn't that annoying, so you might actually enjoy it. I did a lot of narrations in the past. I used to do voices for phone systems. When I was selling those asterisk based phone systems, there were a lot of companies that used my voice. It was funny. I remember one time calling one of the insurance companies and I heard my voice on that. I said, "Wow, that that that's pretty funny." So anyway, it's pretty unique. All right. I remember Susan Powter and many others in the 80s and 90s. Richard Simmons, too. Oh, yeah, he passed away last year. Yeah, I remember Richard Simmons sweating to the oldies. The thing about Richard Simmons that used to make me laugh, I said, well, if this guy does so much exercise, why does he look so out of shape? He never looked like he was in good shape. But hey, he was entertaining. And the thing was that somebody like Richard Simmons was not intimidating. That was like the kind of thing that, maybe grandmother would think of, one of her grandchildren that had grown up and he was just lively. And of course, I think he was a little on the fruity side too. So women, tend to like that. I hate to say it, but they like being around men that are not intimidating. They don't want to be around these guys that are like, they think they're James Bond or something and they're over there trying to get their latest conquest. So yeah, he definitely had an appeal. All right. My mom was all about sweating to the 80s. Yeah, I know the feeling. I've seen that more than once. Good morning, Annabella, with time in Australia. I was obsessed with Jane Fonda. Yeah, Hanoi Jane. Yeah, she had her time too. William McCartney. It's 11:23 p.m. Susan Powter's diet exercise program was called Stop the Insanity. I have a feeling that the carnivore diet could use that same saying as well because all the people eating duck food, if I had a diet and exercise program, it would be stop eating duck food and start chasing ducks. I feel like it live on a different planet than everyone else because eggs aren't that expensive here and I'm poor. Well, you're very lucky. I mean, you said you're Michigan, so I got another online friend in Michigan. If you've ever seen it, he has a YouTube channel called Michigan Hey. I want to meet up with him one of these days. there's a lot of people here on YouTube that I hopefully I eventually will meet in person. And, you know, it's only a matter of time before I get my truck fixed. I had to move my truck. I was trying to move my truck for several days, but we had a little colder than normal weather. And the stupid thing would not start no matter what I did. I poured gas down the intake and cranked. It wouldn't start. And then finally yesterday when it was warm, I shot a little gas into the intake, turned the key and it fired right up. So when you have low compression like that, it's just that's the only way to do it. Now, a friend of mine was supposed to come down, but he couldn't because they had snow in North Florida. But a friend of ours, a longtime older friend of ours, died a couple of weeks ago, and I think the funeral will be in another week. So I may be able, when he comes down, he may be bringing me the engine. At least that's what I'm hoping because I really want to get that truck fixed. And I have been thinking about the one event that I wanted to go to is that Hack Your Health event in Tampa, but I'm debating whether or not to go. And I'm thinking, if I have to go and pay to go there like anybody else, I think I'm not going to go. If they invite me to go there and speak, then I might go. But I don't think they're going to do that. And I think one of the reasons is that being a carnivore quack, I'm not the kind of person that's going to attract anyone to the diet. So if you're trying to market this low carb keto lifestyle, the last thing you want to do is have somebody who is a total quack who's been in this for decades and is skinny as a vegan and wacky as a comedian. So, anyway, let's see. Okay. I feel like, okay. I'll check out your friend's channel. I always want to connect with other Michigan carnivores. There you go. Just looked at Wiki. You're right. Susan Powder became bankrupt, yes, and was homeless. In 2024, they made a documentary about her life. Jamie Lee Curtis directed it. The film isn't out yet. Well, that's interesting. See, that's usually what happens. Terry Sue, hi Rick. William McCartney should now be asleep, especially after my surgery. I need to be with this amazing carnivore gang. Well, thank you for being here. I'm glad that you're here. And I don't know if I'm amazing. I think I'm more of a quack than anything. I will be back. Thanks, Rick. Thank you. I'm sure some of you are going off to the other live stream, but you can always come back and drop back in. Thanks for the early chat, Rick and friends. Time to go see my first carnivore love. Have a great day. Well, you too. Have a great day. Thanks for being here. We got 4.5 inches of snow here on Texas. Yeah, the 21st of January. I'm glad that doesn't happen often. You got that right. Papa Carnivore, Rick, I'm not going to hack your health. Way too expensive. And most of the stuff there is keto, vegetarian, not carnivore. Too many people. Yeah, that's it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It all depends on what happens. I mean, obviously, I don't consider myself to be one of the flock. I consider myself to be one of the top ducks. So if they want me to go, you know, they can help me go there. But I hate that whole cult personality nonsense where you get up in front of people and you act like you're some kind of expert. I mean, yeah, you got the carnivore doctors, and the only reason I would go to an event is because there's a lot of people I want to meet. I would love to meet people in person, and that would be the easiest way to do it. But then again, if I have to continue to do things virtually, it's not the end of the world. So we can deal with that. One more month of summer. I can't wait. Okay. Can't wait for autumn. Yeah, well, you're in a different part of the world. So, and I have to say, I don't like hot weather either. Living in Florida, at least 9 months out of the year, the weather is absolutely horrible. 3 months of the, well, let's say, yeah, 3 months of the year, okay. And 2 weeks out of the year, the weather's awesome. And I think we've already had 7 good days this year. So we may not get any more good weather until later on when we have our winter, but that's okay. All right, let's see. Rick, I will return. I do have a whatever carnivore homesteading channel. Oh, okay. Here we go. I'll watch replay. Oh, there you go. I'll have to look if you have a channel. I haven't really seen. I have to look at your channel. And that's the problem. When you have these channels that stream every day, they seem to hog up all the space. I don't think it's necessary for anyone to every single day have a live stream. You can have it once a week or whatever. But hey, some people like the routine. Let's see. It'd be cool to see those goats in person. All right. When Mitch has his meetup in Melbourne, I hope your truck is fixed so you can come. The only cost is buying your own meal. Cost 38.47. Now see, that's a good thing. And that's not bad because you're going to one of those all you can eat. Um I would love to go to his get together because I like the fact that Mitch is not trying to take advantage of you by charging money and then saying it's for some fundraiser because he's a real guy. I'd love to meet him. He's a Floridian, just like you, Peter. I want to meet you as well because it's about time that those of us that are in the area get to meet in person. For some reason, here in Miami, I am the only carnivore that I know of. I think a lot of it is because of the Latin American culture. People tend to come from islands and they tend to come from South and Central America where they're really poor and they eat duck food like beans and rice, and chicken, and they tend to cook pretty nasty. But, that's just my opinion. Okay. Oh, let's see. I had 3 cancers removed. I've been eating lots of fat. I've noticed my legs are stronger since the cancer's been removed. Yeah, cancer must have been like a parasite draining me. Well, that's true. It takes a lot of energy for those stupid cancers to grow, and getting rid of them. Everyone that has cancer. My mom had cancer twice. One of the symptoms is they become weak and sarcopenic. So getting rid of that sure makes a difference. All right, let's see what we have here. Off to Mitch. Yeah, that's it. I wish I knew this was on earlier. Well, you know what? It'll be next week, and I'm going to try to do it every single week. That's my goal. Cindy Dementia. Hello, Rick. Hello, Cindy. Glad you're here. I would like to meet Dr. Anthony Chafee and Dr. Paul Mason. Yeah, I would love to meet Dr. Anthony Chafee because he's the first doctor that ever interviewed me. And Paul Mason, I always thought he was kind of interesting with his funny little accent, you know, interesting looking blonde guy. Yeah, I'd definitely like to meet him. John S. Been eating raw meat for 2 years. Okay. I'm in Miami. Like your content. Well, if you're in Miami, you ought to look for me. I'm one of the very few people here that's 6'6". If you see me out and about, why not say hello? But then again, I live in the Kendall area. So Miami's one of those places where people tend to live in their own area. I never go downtown because I hate it. It's just too depressing. If you go to like Miami Beach or Brickell or whatever, it's just depressing. Because when I remember it as a kid, it was kind of nice, but now it's just overpopulated and just garbage. Okay. Um, I'm heading over to watch Mitch. I figured you would. I'll come back after his show ends, and I'm going to watch the replay of your live too. Love your show, Rick. Well, thank you, Peter. Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad to have another carnivore quack that comes in every so often. Okay. You are worth me staying up for, Rick. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. John S. Yeah, I'm in South Beach trying to get out of this matrix. South Beach used to be kind of a neat place. And back in the 80s, it was a really cool place because it was relatively cheap. In the 70s, when I was a kid, you had a lot of older people that lived there. So in the 80s, you started having the younger people move in there. And actually, it was sort of a gay thing. A bunch of them gay guys, they went to Miami Beach. And what was happening is a lot of these old hotels that they were going to tear down, what they wanted to do was turn it into what's now Sunny Isles, which is a disgrace. Sunny Isles back then had a lot of these 2 and 3 story motels, and it was kind of cool because a lot of the hotels they had names like Las Vegas. They had a Thunderbird, which recently got torn down. I think it was the last one. They had a Dunes, and they had like a lot of Vegas style names, and it was at mid-century modern, really nice. Well, they tore all that down. They built a bunch of garbage, and I mean garbage high rises. They're just so huge, and by the way, they're sinking because the coastal areas of Florida they have a coral rock and sand base. It can't support that kind of weight, so they've ruined it. So that place has been ruined. But Miami Beach, you had this old lady. Her name was Barbara Capitman, and she had been around forever. And when they were thinking about tearing down South Beach, she put up a big fuss. A lot of people around there got together and they decided instead of tearing down South Beach, they would go ahead and redo it. Some kind of restoration, whatever. And then we had that TV show Miami Vice. You probably remember that. And they featured like downtown Miami, Miami Beach, and all that. So there was this push to bring back that when they call it the Art Deco district, which is still mostly there. And it's really interesting because I think it put Miami Beach on the map. So when you think of South Beach, or what the tourists call SoBe, you think about that Ocean Drive and those old buildings from the 30s and 40s that were fixed up, and a lot of them are still there. So it's almost become like a outdoor Disney World or something like that. If they would have built all those high rises on Miami Beach, it would be nothing but collapsing condos and just garbage, just like Sunny Isles, which is really depressing. I mean, you go there, it's just ugh. I've had to do work over there at some of these buildings. I hate going there. It's one of I tell people I generally won't do any work in any of these high rises. They're a pain in the neck, and you can only work there at certain times. And then the people there, they think that they're so great, but they're really nothing special. But and then they tear down the neat old buildings and they build stupid buildings like Porsche Tower and Bentley Tower. And one of the ugliest cars I think in the world is a Bentley. This thing looks like a big elephant turd. It is so ugly and it costs so much money. And I think about the old days. Those cars used to be beautiful. It's like the old Rolls Royces. A lot of chrome, a lot of style. Now they're just crap. You might as well just buy a Lexus. Just buy a Toyota. You'll probably get a better ride and a more reliable car. And of course, even Cadillacs now are garbage. Remember when you had Cadillacs that were long, they had fins on them. You had the Eldorado, the Fleetwood, and all those big old luxury Cadillacs that ride smooth. What are they now? They're an SUV. If I want to buy an SUV, I'll buy a Ford. I'll just buy a Ford Excursion or some big monstrosity like that. Or if you really want to waste your money, buy the electric Hummer. That thing is so big and so ugly. Well, it's not really ugly, it's just weird looking. I actually like the military Humvee because they use the old diesel engine and they were relatively simple, but they never really sold those. Anyway, let's see. So it's good to know that I'm not the only one in Miami. There are lots of carnivores in South Florida. I know two male dentists, both in their 30s, who are carnivore and work out a lot. That sounds like that guy, Kevin Stock, that works out. But again, most of these people that are carnivore that work out, they worked out before they were carnivore. I don't know any of them. It's like my friend that now lives in Minnesota. He was into bodybuilding before he started the carnivore diet. He actually started the carnivore diet because of me, believe it or not. And it was interesting because, once in a while we get together to eat and he'd watch how I eat. And at that time, he was eating the pasta and the meat, the white meat chicken and rice and all that stuff. And he saw me eating my heart attack burger, 4 half-pound patties, full of fat, cooked in a pan so the fat doesn't run out. When he would cook burgers, he'd cook it on a grill. And he had one of those silly George Foreman grills for cooking the chicken breast. And I told him, I said, how can you eat that dry, bland chicken breast? When I cook chicken breast, I drop it in beef tallow or lard and let it fry up. And it's really, really tasty. But I hate chicken breast otherwise. It's just awful. I tend to like the dark meat. But what I did, and I guess in 1998, see, he was late 20s and he was already having some problems with trying to get rid of body fat, having to work extra hard. And he saw me and how skinny I am, and I eat a bunch of food. I do no exercise other than work. And by the way, at that time, I wasn't even working physically. We actually had a business where we were setting up networks and computers. I spent most of my day in an office. I never worked out. I didn't ride a bike. I drove my car. So I sat around all day at the office, never worked out. The only workout I got was going up the stairs and walking back and forth to my car or truck. And looking at me, he says, wow, how do you stay so thin when I eat all that fat? So he did a little research, and I guess what happened was he decided that it would be a good idea to try the carnivore diet. And in 1998, he started the carnivore diet, and he's been carnivore ever since. He's 50 years old now, and it looks amazing. In fact, Out of everyone, I think out of all the carnivores, he is the best looking of all of them. If I was going to choose who the best looking carnivore is at age 50, it's my friend, you know. But he's very private. He was poor when we were friends. Now he has lots of money and he's made several investments. He owns, he's, major owner in several businesses. So he's kept his carnivore diet and his lifestyle a secret. And if you're watching me, I'm not going to reveal any details that's going to let anyone figure out where you are. So, you know me, your secret is safe with your friend Rick. But my friend over there, he's definitely a long-term carnivore, and maybe one day he, or if you're watching, you will decide that it might be good to share your experiences with others, because I think if people saw how your life was over these decades, they would believe you a lot more than a skinny quack like me. Okay, let's see. Love this history of South Beach. Thank you. Well, thank you, John S. I know a lot about my parents used to take me to Miami Beach when I was a kid. I got some pictures somewhere when we were on the beach. I used to have to feed nickels to the parking meter. I remember that. You'd have to, I think I'd put a quarter in there to get an hour. And I have some old parking meters from Miami Beach because you know me, I like to grab a little bit from every time period. Okay, let's see. The only time I've been to Florida was to visit Cocoa Beach and Cape Canaveral. Okay. Is the western coastal area of the north nicer for living? Years ago, the West Coast was more rural and it was very, very relaxed. It was where a lot of the older tourists went. When they left Miami Beach, they went over to like Cape Coral. We used to call it Cape Coma because it was so full of old people, and Fort Myers and Naples and all those places. But now, Naples, starting in the 1990s, became sort of like Miami West. And a lot of the people, the Miami mentality where you overpay for a place to live and then you complain about it. Well, that's what's happened. Now they're flooded with traffic. um, if you want to go to a part of Florida that doesn't have a lot of crazy development, you got to go north and usually around the bend of Florida. Now, Pensacola, of course, is a college town, so you have a lot of younger people there, but and it's not great, but I think that's even still better than Miami because Miami Beach is sort of a ghetto in a way. I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but we tend to attract people that come here to sort of misbehave. It's like the old what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, they tend to treat Miami the same way. You come over here and you're going to see it. Oh, it's terrible. You know. Now, if you want to go and you don't really want the beach, if you want to be more into like boating and fishing and all that, you can go down to the Keys where I used to live. Anything from Key Largo down to Key West. Those places tend to be a little more on the eccentric side. Although when I was younger, Key West was where all the hippies and poor people lived, and it was a whole lot more fun than it is now. Same thing with Key Largo. I had friends down there. I had a friend that lived next to the ocean down there. He was building a boat. So back in the 80s and even 90s, the Keys were definitely, the place to go. I mean, there's still, you could drive down there. It still seems like old Florida, but Miami Beach, I don't really see it. Okay. I'm south of Fifth, where it's much more relaxed, but still many high rises. Yeah. Thank God for the beach every morning, sun gazing. Well, there you go. If you live there and you don't have to deal with all the parking nonsense, nowadays you can't even find parking because you got so many people, living multiple in these apartments. When I was a kid, the only place they charged for parking was along the beach itself. You could park a block away and walk to the beach, then you didn't have to worry about the meter. But Miami Beach is obsolete, in my opinion. Okay, me too. I had chicken wings today. Cover in butter and bake it. Yum. Hey, that's a good way to make chicken. Try heart attack chicken if you don't mind frying. Yes, that's yummo too. Yep. Hi, sweetheart. Let's see. Howdy, beautiful. Happy carnivore. That's so cool, Rick. Yeah, it is. I never reveal my doctor's identity. He's Batman. Okay. Ellie Dan, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Let's see. Wolfie's Rascal House was my first memory of South Beach as a kid. We also stayed at the Mayan and Aztec motels. Oh, okay. We flew out from New Jersey. I later went to UM in the 80s. You know, that's cool. I was in college in the 80s as well. I didn't go to UM because it was a little expensive. Yeah, there was also a Wolfie's on Lincoln Road and Rascal House. I think that was there until the 2000s. Um, I never ate there because they had mostly like Jewish food, which is high carb. But I do remember going in there with a friend, and it still looked like the 1950s. I thought it was so cool. I think the building might even still be there, but they closed the Wolfie's Rascal House, which is really stupid because that was sort of a landmark. You know, they had a really large sign as well with that little rascal character on it. I actually do have somewhere some napkins from Wolfie's and Wolfie's Rascal House because, you know, my parents had a lot of friends. My mother, when she came to Miami in the 1950s, she originally lived on Miami Beach. And when they opened those places, you know, my parents moved out here to the suburbs in 1959. But before that, they both lived on Miami Beach. So I have a lot of that memorabilia. If the termites haven't eaten it, I'll be getting that. Okay, let's see. Oh, right. Wolfie's Rascal. Okay. Florida is one big wrinkle ranch. Okay. Where I live in Canada, they also tear down beautiful buildings and then build ugly 40 plus story condos. It's sickening me. And you know, the Canadians, their whole economy now is based on real estate speculation. Once this thing blows up, it's going to be really interesting because when I think of Canada, I always thought about lumber, cattle, and energy. But now we have a lot of these Canadians that used to come to Florida. They were really cheap. We used to laugh at them because they go to the buffet. But Canadians were super tight. Now the Canadians we have, they buy overpriced Miami Beach condos and houses, and they've driven the cost to the stratosphere. So that's that's just depressing. Let's see. I'll have to save up tallow, Annabella. Yeah, it's a good idea to have it. It's very handy. Let's see. Kim appreciates life. My daughter lives in Little Havana on the Miami River in a tiny place with two friends. Yeah, that's typical for Miami. She's a Miami Dade public school teacher. She hates beef, loves sushi. Ugh. You know, the pay here is low and the real estate here is extremely high, which is ridiculous. Annabella, my doctor is carnivore. That's why I don't share his details. He deserves his privacy. Well, there you go. And she says, do you like lamb? Yes, I do. In fact, I had lamb chops when we had our get together last week. It was actually pretty good. Lamb has a lot of fat. It does. Old you too. Yeah, well, hey, sometimes the old ones are more flavorful. Fatten them up with pumpkin and wild apples. Well, that's what we used to do here in the Florida way with cattle. When with the cattle, when they're too old, because dairy used to be a huge industry here. We actually have a street called Milam Dairy Road. There's also Ives Dairy. We had MacArthur Dairy. We had a lot of Velda Farms. All those places are gone. They're pretty much either replaced with shopping centers or crappy condos. And in fact, that's all we have now is just development. And they're even getting rid of shopping centers now to build more apartments and condos. The idea of Miami, see, Miami is what I call less for more. So you want to get less space so you can cram more people in. You're going to get less value for more money. That's the Miami way. So if you have a nice little house that has a little bit of extra space, that has to go. So you're going to get rid of that, and then you're going to stack and pack so you can get more money out of the same land. There's money flowing in from all over the world, and people use land as a way of laundering money. They started that in the 1980s with the drug trade, and now it's sort of like a worldwide money laundering. The funny thing is that one day a 1926 style hurricane is going to hit this place, and then they won't be able to give this away. Now, I'm old enough to remember that when I was a kid, there were buildings that were empty, a lot of them. Miami Beach, downtown, there were a lot of empty buildings, and they sat for years. you know, even that Freedom Tower, which is now a museum, that was empty when I was a kid. It sat for at least a decade. And then there was a Biscaya Hotel in Miami Beach. There's a big condo there where that used to be. That was empty for years. There were a lot of empty buildings downtown because in the 70s, we had inflation. A lot of people left the area and the market just collapsed. And that's going to happen again. When Hurricane Andrew hit in 92, It wiped out South Dade. And for years after that, homes that were selling for $200,000 were selling for $80,000. One of my friends bought a house down there. His family moved from this neighborhood to what's called Redland, Florida, and they bought that place. And now he's going to move. I'll probably get 3 million for that place. It's crazy. It's just nothing but a bunch of funny money from the Fed. All right. Pastrami was my favorite at Wolfie's. I never got to try that. I heard a lot about their pastrami. The one thing about a lot of these Jewish restaurants and delis, Jewish people don't eat pork. Well, officially, they tend to like chicken, and they do like to eat beef. And there's a brisket. I remember one of these sandwich places I used to get from a friend of mine that was working there. He'd give me the brisket. It was really, really tasty. I loved it. And they have some good flavors. Now, they do tend to spice their stuff, which I'm not a really big fan of, but they don't really bother me. That spice meat is not going to hurt me. They also make some kind of salami and sausage and all that stuff. Pretty good stuff. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? But yeah, fatten with pumpkin. We used to use mangoes, avocados, and bananas to fatten up the cattle, as well as elephant grass, banana leaves, and all that stuff. Nothing fattens up a cow like tropical fruit, and the meat tastes really good. Okay, let's see. I always think of Anne of Green Gables when I think of Canada. All right, Carnivore Muscle present. There's Jonathan. Yes, I'm glad you're here. I caught your live stream earlier, and I'm glad that you've taken time to check out mine. Annabella, Carnivore Muscle. Yep. How are you? Okay. There's no character these days. That is true. And, you know, even though I'm a big fan of modern architecture, it's mid century modern. And if you remember, you might still have some of these buildings left if you're not in a bubble town. You used to have these buildings with big concrete overhangs that stuck out. You had circles and triangles and all these shapes. They had patterned blocks. They had bricks. They had stone. They often, here in Florida, we had what they had, a tiki motif. It would be like my front yard, where you have all these tropical plants like a jungle. I think they still have a restaurant called Mai Kai that has that tiki thing. It burned down, but they rebuilt it. But it was real popular. A lot of houses here had bricks and rocks. Once the flippers got in, the first thing they do is chisel all that off, and everything gets painted white, black, and gray. That's it. Then they talk about how great it looks, and I look at it as like, oh, crap. I can paint anything white, black, and gray. It just looks really ugly. All right, let's see. I found $6 eggs this week. They were sold out. I'll get them next week. How much are eggs? The last time I bought eggs, they were $4.50 a dozen. I used to eat a dozen eggs a day, and I went down to 6 eggs, then 4, then 3. Now I'm down to 2 eggs, and I'm waiting for my ducks to start laying now that they came back. So I'm surviving on 2 eggs a day. So I can get 6 days out of a dozen. Not good. Let's see. Okay, BK, Belgian Carnivore. Hi, Rick. Hi, all carnivores. Hello. Carnivore Muscle in coastal towns, England is like this. Elderly retires and their 500K home. They move into residential living homes for 400K. They use the remainder of their money on taxation fees. Yeah, it's pretty much the same here, sadly. Do you know the TV show Dexter? Yes, I've heard about it. Is the way Miami is depicted in the show accurate? Um, it depends on where you live, and I believe where they filmed that. I don't know if they actually filmed that in Miami. I think it might have been in California. I know they had a show called Burn Notice that they used to film at the old Dinner Key Auditorium, which they tore down. That was another historic place we lost. And not that far away is the old Coconut Grove Playhouse. They're letting that one deteriorate so they can tear that down. I think they're going to build condos there too. And we have several shopping centers here that have been sort of failed, like the Bakery Center, which is now called Sunset Place. I need to make a video from there before they tear that down. And I know, just like everything else, it goes through trends. For a while, they were trying to build these like multi-story lifestyle shopping centers where you had to pay to park, like the Miracle Center and all that. That all failed. Now I think what they're doing is what they call mixed use because people don't have the money to go out to shop. So what they're going to do now is build a bunch of apartments and then stick a few stores in there. We have several of these developments that have stores on the first floor and they're usually empty. And again, when I get some more time, I'm going to get on my bike and make some videos so you can see what's happened to this place. It's kind of strange, actually. Okay. I cooked up 2.2 kilograms of brisket yesterday. Well, knowing you, Jonathan, you probably knocked that out in a couple of meals. In the 1700s, an ounce of gold would buy you buy your rundown shack. Today, an ounce of gold will buy you a rundown shack. And here, an ounce of gold probably wouldn't even buy you a car in this crazy town. What is gold? 2,600 an ounce, something like that. It's just crazy. Okay, Rick, make a note of somewhere called the Eden Project in England. You'll find it intriguing. I'll have to look at that. I'm saving all of these chats so I can go back through them. Polish Mike, good morning. Cardio work, no zone 2, walking and sprints only. Okay, complete. Now chill with Rick. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you've taken some time out of your day to see the original carnivore quack. And, Polish Mike, you need to make some more videos. I miss your videos. You've made a lot of progress. You have a good physique. You have a healthy, sort of primitive lifestyle like I do, maybe even more so. If I remember correctly, you were sleeping on the floor. I generally don't sleep on the floor, although the way my bed is, I might as well be sleeping on the floor. Okay, Rick, my daughter could live in my house in Boca for free. After she graduated, she wanted to stay in Miami. I help her out with some bills since things become more expensive. Miami has this weird way of attracting people. And I don't know what it is because if I was looking for a place to live and I came here, I would be saying, I want to get out of here. It's like every time I had to visit New York City, it always had sort of a unappealing look to me. There's a noise, when you go to downtown Miami now, you have that same New York City noise. And I think it's because of all the high rises. When you live in a suburb like I do, the noise travels sort of linearly. I can hear the turnpike, which is, just nearby me. But depending on the wind direction, you may not hear it. So if the wind blows, let's say from the north, it's going to sound different than if it blows from the south or east or west. But when you go to downtown Miami or especially Brickell Avenue, you have so many oversized high rises. And most modern high rises, they tend to have balconies and they act like baffles. So they make a really weird kind of a whirring sound when the wind blows. It's just really depressing. And also with all the EMF and all the other things that are going on, all the Wi-Fi and cell phones and everything, I get in a bad mood whenever I have to go in those areas. I feel like, just not as good. I don't have the attitude that I normally do. When I go to the rural part, let's say I go down to west of Homestead, then I feel better because it seems to be more natural. If I go out to the Everglades, it's the same thing. It's just definitely more natural. And another thing I want to do when I get my truck running, I want to go out there to the old dirt road that we used to call Loop Road that goes from Tamiami Trail. It goes around through the Everglades and comes back. And that's kind of a scenic route right there. That would be sort of the old Florida, which we used to have much more common. All right, let's see. Carnivore muscle. Our eggs work out to $5.16 per dozen. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Gold is over 2,700. Well, gold has gone up. My daughter has college friends there who all live at home. That's the only way you can survive here. You got to live with your parents. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting money on a bunch of overpriced rentals. A lot of older people, they rent rooms in their house to make extra money. I refuse to do that. I don't want other people living in my house. And besides, they wouldn't want to live with a quack anyway. My daughter has college friends there, live at home. Okay, sometimes film and TV make the show in California or Vancouver. Yeah, but it's set elsewhere. Yeah, that's usually the way it works. Eggs have been $6.10 for 12. I haven't been to the store in a couple of weeks, so I'm hoping that my ducks will start laying, that I won't have to go to the store. But you know what? I gave up butter because it got too expensive. I gave up bacon because it got too expensive. If I have to give up eggs, what choice do I have? I'm going to have to see if the iguanas are laying eggs because this is just ridiculous. College is a waste. Well, not necessarily. I went to college. I went 4 years. Actually, I went more than 4 years because I took a 2 year AS degree in electronics technology. I was on a scholarship. I had good grades, so I continued for an AA degree in electrical engineering. Then I went 2 more years to the university to finish that degree. I started college in 86 and I finished it in 92. So you can see that I did spend a lot of time there. I did work a little bit, but not much. I concentrated on my studies. Never used a degree though, but I consider it to be just an expensive version of high school. The only reason why college really exists is because of the government. They require people to get degrees to be permitted to do certain jobs. And I think in many ways, if it wasn't for that, it wouldn't be necessary. It's like medical school, for example, I think is just overdone. I think that some people could learn medicine very easily where others would need the extra schooling. And that's one of the problems I think with our system. College is sort of a one size fits all. I think that college should be modified. I mean, first of all, if I had my way, there would be no tuition for college. It would be merit based. So, in other words, instead of paying tuition to go to college, you would have to prove that you were worthy of going to college. And if you couldn't do that, well, you could learn a trade. I think it would work a lot better. Rich people basically find ways to get their kids to go through college so they can get a degree, and then they get some, nepo job where they can get paid for doing almost nothing, and they can go around and throw money around and, show off how much money they have. But I'm not really, I don't know. But for some people, I think forcing everyone to college is a mistake. But then again, it can be beneficial for certain people. It's like anything else. It's like even medications. I don't use any. But I think for some people, they do serve a purpose. The problem is that they're just way too over, people are being pushed constantly into these things. Okay, let's see. I want to thank you, Rick, for joining on the live last night with Caleb. Well, thank you so much, Cindy. I'm always looking for the new carnivores, and I kind of like what he's trying to do. 15, 16 years old, you start the carnivore diet. I can relate to that because I was 15 years old when I started the carnivore diet. The only thing is, I was not overweight, I was underweight. And if any of you want to know what I look like, if you look at my community page on YouTube, I have a picture of me for the junior high drama class that I was in. You can find me. I don't look that much different than I do now. And I was, 14 years old at the time. So that was, is something, to look at that and realize that I was that small. And in fact, I even found one of the shirts that I used to wear for PE when I was out there. In fact, I might even grab that. When you keep everything, you never know what you're going to find. Now, we used to have these silly shorts and shirts that we had to wear, and this was the one right here. See, it's been in a drawer for a long time, and you can see that it is not, there's no way. I've grown quite a bit since that time. I even have one from elementary school, if I can find it. Oh, here it is. And that was kind of big for me at the time. I always remember that a lot of the clothes they were big because I've always been a skinny kid. And I'll tell you one thing, it's kind of nice to be able to look back on that and realize, living basically in the same house that I did when I was a kid, even though I wasn't here for years, I start digging through stuff and I find this old stuff that I'd forgotten about that was put in a drawer somewhere. It's like, wow, I can't believe it's still here. When I moved out, my mother never threw anything away. They just used my bedroom as a storage. She packed all of her clothes and dolls and everything in here. And when I moved back in, I couldn't even get in the room. It was so packed with stuff. That's one of the reasons we started getting rid of stuff. So yeah, it's been let's just say an adventure. And everything in this room has a story behind it. In fact, the light that's hanging in my room actually came out of the junior high when they were doing some remodeling. And there's some other things here. I mean, if you look around, everything in here has a story. Even the phone that I use. This phone over here, this was from the Homestead Air Force Base. There's this little sticker on here, and when the base was destroyed by the hurricane and I was doing hurricane cleanup, we were taking out trash, and I remember they were hauling all this trash out of there, and I saw this phone sitting in the pile. So I thought, man, I got to get that. So I grabbed that along with whatever else I could find. So there's a story behind everything in here. These neon lights that you see over here, these were the ones when I was doing neon signs, because back in the 80s, it was a big thing. And there was still a lot of businesses that had them. I learned how to bend the glass tubing and how to evacuate and charge them. These were all practice strips. You see, that's why they're in different colors. That one over there is argon with the yellow. This one over here is regular neon and a clear glass tubing. This one over here is argon, but it has a white fluorescent coating. And this one over there is neon with a fluorescent coating. So these were samples that I did when I was trying to teach myself how to make neon signs. And it was a lot of fun. And of course, I had to do things that are dangerous. I had to work with mercury when I was making the mercury valve that goes with the vacuum pump. I made my own vacuum pump. And you got to realize this was the 1980s. It was probably 1987. I was in college and I was trying to make extra money on the side. So I started doing that neon art. And from 1987, look, it still works. Not one of these has gone bad. And I did these myself. When I had my YouTube channel years ago, I've had people tell me I was showing them how to fix air conditioning. Well, you're not a licensed AC technician. Like, so what? I know how to do it. Just because I don't have a piece of paper from the government that says that I can do it doesn't mean I can't do it. And these neon lights are a good example. So one of the things I like is that everything that I have has a story behind it. And I know a lot of the customers I do work for, they buy stuff because it's sort of a trend. They'll change their furniture. Oh, the old one, I don't like it anymore. Or they want to remodel their house because they want to look like everybody else. Well, once I build something, I don't change it unless it needs to be changed. I have no reason to remodel. It just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, now we got some more people. We got 41. Now, I tell everyone in my live stream, I don't have the biggest live stream, but you know what? I don't have the most subscribers either. I have the best subscribers because my subscribers participate. You may have a YouTube channel with 10 million people in it, but how many of them do you actually know? When I look at all your names, I know I've chatted with you. You're people that I really appreciate. And we got a lot more comments too. Look at that. Okay. I love going to the mountains. I want to thank you, Rick, for joining us. Yes, that's right. Okay. McQuack's over at 35 star. There you go. McQuack. I think at one time they were going to do a McDuck in France or something. DS 111. Yep. Good to have you here. See? Glad you seem to be feeling better. And also, I noticed that a lot of you communicate with each other, and that's what we want. We want to be able to share our information. Kim appreciates life. My daughter teaches art, certified to teach special needs kids. Yep, Miami is a better place for art. Elementary kids get a whole hour for art in Miami. We used to have art class too, even in elementary school. In Broward and PBC, art class is half an hour. That's interesting. Good morning, Rick. Good morning, M and J. Good to have you here, as always. That's good. You were in drama. My daughter that's how she met the man who is now her husband. Oh, I have all of her shirts from drama. Yeah, I was in drama class because it was one of the few things, because I had such a poor grade point average. I took that as a way. I was always kind of I was never the shy kid. I always wanted to get out in front of people and talk to them and do things. And it was an easy A that I could make because my grade point average was, well, like a C average. But when I got to high school, it went to a straight A average. I did take drama in high school because I had it in ninth grade, and it was a way of trying to get, but my high school days changed. I became so drastically different, and it's only been in the last 4 or 5 years that I realized that I think the carnivore diet had a lot to do with it, because elementary school and junior high were not fun, and yet high school was actually pretty good. So I have a pretty good experience with that, and I became more and more interested in just doing things. Okay, let's see. Financial prepper. Story behind most people also. Yes. Good morning. This is Stacy. Well, hello, Stacy. I hope you and Chris are doing well. I don't know if you're having another live this morning. If you do, I'm going to try to join it as soon as I can. And again, if you haven't watched the Financial Prepper channel, this is a good channel because they combine all the things that I believe in, which is good quality natural food. Now, Chris, I don't think is really carnivore, but they're close to it, and they live kind of off grid, on grid combination. He has a welding channel. And again, I think if you want to learn a skill, one of the best things you could learn is welding, because, even though if you're going to work for someone, you probably have to be certified. But if you're going to build stuff for yourself, you're a farmer, you're like me, you work on stuff, you don't need it. You just need to buy a welder, and you can get one used. In fact, my MIG welder broke. I got to find another one. But do you have the arc welder, the stick welder, and you also have the oxyacetylene torch? Learning how to weld, in my opinion, is really, really important if you can. Okay, I'm reluctant to get a dental cleaning, though I'm due after a year. The issue with plaque or tartar is that it's there, but it starts to flake out. Yes, flake after a while. I do not consume much sugar, but maybe coffee. TJ's notes. Well, let me tell you, I haven't been to a dentist since 1986. My teeth are crooked, as you can see, broken from fighting as a kid. But look, they seem healthy otherwise. And when I was a kid, they wanted to pull teeth and put braces, and it just, losing teeth seemed like a bad idea. So, I just stopped going to the dentist, and I haven't had a problem. I've never had a cavity since. I got a couple that were filled in when I was a kid, but I haven't had one since. And my top teeth were sticking out when I was a kid. If you look at a picture of me, there's one floating around here somewhere. You can see that they were more crooked. But I think since I've been chewing on meat and being a carnivore, it sort of like pulled them out, and I don't know what it is, but they got better. The bottom ones, though, were damaged. They've been like that since I was a kid. They're not going to get any better, but that's okay. All right. Let's see. I like the real neon. I only use incandescent light bulbs, no LED. And so do I. If you look around my house, you'll see that every light bulb in here is incandescent. I use these. These are called Durotest bulbs. Now, these light bulbs, they're used for traffic signals. You can still buy them. They are rated at 135 watts, but they really only draw 100 watts. It's just something that they use for, I guess for rating. But this bulb, I have one of these bulbs that's in the bathroom that I built 25 years ago, and it's never been replaced. Never. I have these in the refrigerator. I have them everywhere. Now, I do have a fluorescent light that runs down the middle of the room that I use during the day for working, because this incandescent bulb doesn't work that well. But at night, I have and I use these old Hall of Fame light fixtures from the 1950s. They have a prismatic glass, and I put these bulbs in it. That's why a lot of times when you saw my videos in the living room, I always look kind of dim. People said I looked unhealthy because I don't like having a lot of light at night. That fluorescent light, I only turn it on when I do live streams at night, but normally it's off. I also use what's known as I think it's called X2 or whatever, remote control, which allows me to control the lights. And the X2 system only works with incandescent light bulbs. The LEDs will just flicker. They act kind of weird. But I do have LED bulbs outside. I have an LED bulb in my payphone. I have LED lights around the house because it doesn't matter. It's outside. But at nighttime, I generally turn the lights off. A lot of people in this neighborhood, especially the Latin Americans, they're paranoid about being robbed. So they have lots of lights. In fact, a lot of fences here have lights on the posts. I joke, it looks like a landing strip. They like a concrete yard, no trees, no bushes, and a bunch of lights. That's sort of the Latin American way because I'm sure where they come from is just a lot of crime. Now, in my neighborhood, I'm not worried about it because being the neighborhood quack, I have no money. There's nothing here worth stealing unless you like old stuff. And most of the people that like old stuff don't steal stuff. So the chance of my home being broken into is zero. No one's ever tried to break in. Now, I did at one time have someone snoop around, but as you know, us Floridians tend to be a little crazy. We tend to be armed, and I went outside, and I think once the person realized that somebody was after them, they took off and ran out the gate, and that was it. So I'm not really worried about that. You know, again, if somebody wanted to break in, I'm sure they could, but what are they going to take? And other than getting some free lead, they're just not going to be able to get a whole lot. Okay, we have 42 people. That's good. Let's see. My YouTube channel is smaller than yours. I love my subscribers. Yes. Hi, Quackers. 1980 said that year I looked for only had the chance to go back. Well, you know, you do the best of the time you have now. What's the name? Annabella. Same age as you. Okay. Mandy Meadows. Same age as you, Rick. Well, that's good. Um, let's see. As a carnivore, my dental hygienist told me I was a boring patient because I have no plaque or tartar. My gums don't bleed. I could have skipped the appointment. Well, there you go. That's like me. I don't have bleeding gums unless sometimes if I chew too much ice, I can scrape my gums. And yeah, I do chew ice sometimes, which is part of living in Florida. Are they impacted in causing pain? Let's see. I've had a lot of dental work in the past because I ate so much sugar most of my life. I started Carnivore 2015. All right, 10 years. Good. Lots of stops and starts. Very good. Useful as replacement teeth. Annabelle, you just got a new sub. Well, there you go. Ellie Dan, there's no room for them to grow. One of the dental assistants at the office and my daughter, don't you ask why I haven't been there so long. I'll tell you one thing. I drove by the dentist office, the last one I went to. It is now a doctor's office. The dentist I used to go to died decades ago. So that's pretty funny right there. Well, not funny, but interesting. It's been so long, the dentist died. I feel blessed. The old traffic signal bulb could last you a lifetime. Yes, I have a 69-watt traffic signal bulb in my mom's foyer. It's almost 40 years old. I'm not sure you can still get them though with the push LED. Yes, you can. And the reason is the LED lamps don't meet the traffic specs because they're the problem with it is the way they go on and off. They go on and off instantly. They do sell LED traffic uh, modules, but they have multiple LEDs in a string. And that way it's redundant. If you've ever watched them, you'll see that some of the LEDs fail and sometimes they even flicker because of bad solder joints. When you're running an electronic circuit in those extreme conditions, the failure rate can be pretty high. And if you notice, LED bulbs can do some weird things like flashing. And that right there would be a disaster because if you had, let's say, a green light flashing, what would people do? So they do make LED traffic signals. And believe it or not, I worked for a company for a few years that installed traffic signals, did electrical work. So that's where I kind of got the idea for these things. I also have a traffic light collection. If you see some of my pictures in my community page, you'll see that I had a whole traffic light display in my backyard, but it worked pretty well. Okay, let's see here. I feel blessed. Okay, good. Nice to get new subscriptions. I had to get a lot of fillings last year because of starving myself before carnivore. As a woman, okay, Stacy says, financial prepper, tell them to be safe. Had a man follow me to 2 grocery stores the other day. License plates from Texas. Thank God a cop pulled up good and had him follow me. It's nice when you can get law enforcement to help you out. Annabelle, I like the old style light bulbs. I do too. The thing about these, believe it or not, if you're like me and you like to work with glass, you can actually rebuild these bulbs. Now, it's not easy. The thing is glued in, you have to heat it up. But I actually have in my collection an old Edison bulb that burned out. And what I did, I took a broken traffic light bulb, and I see the filament in these is actually tungsten, and it's not a straight wire. It has like this little curly thing to it. So that way, when it turns on, it'll expand. That makes it last longer. The original Edison bulbs were just like straight tungsten wire. So I actually modified one of those Edison bulbs with this. And then the vacuum used to be on the top. They always had like the place where you pull the vacuum out of it. So I welded the glass together and I put it on my vacuum pump. I got it working. I put a little bit of argon inside of it. And one of these days I'll dig it out and I'll show you. It still works. By using this filament, it'll probably last forever. I think there's also an old light bulb somewhere in a fire station. I think it's in New York or California or whatever. That's been working for 100 years or whatever, because it's one of those um, older light bulbs. One of the problems is it's sort of like a balance when it comes to light bulbs. If you have a light bulb that can give you a lot of light that's very bright, it has a reduced life. If you have a light bulb that produces very little light, it has a very long life. Excuse me. I have some indicator bulbs around here that are pretty old that still work. But what lasts the longest is these cold cathode neon lights, because they don't burn out. They don't get hot. In fact, see, they're a little bit warm, but they're relatively cool to touch. Don't touch the corner because that's where the high voltage is. But they're, you know, relatively cool. They're very efficient, and that's one of the reasons why I have them all over the house. I actually have them in the hallway. I have part of the living room. There's neon everywhere in this house. So this one I think is like a 12,000 volt transformer, and they work. It's not a lot of light, but it's enough to see and enough not to step on the cat, which can be a mission in itself, especially since my little cat is extremely lively and he likes to attack your legs. That's sort of his thing now. Thankfully, he kind of holds back on the claws. He's not over there trying to stick me with nasty little claws. But then again, you know, he is a cat, and cats love to attack. How is Milton? Well, you know what I might do just for you? If I get knocked offline, it won't be good. I'm going to let Milton in here, and then that way you can see him for yourself. So, first of all, I'm going to put the light bulb back in so he doesn't break it. And this is the cover that goes on the light fixture. Again, I love these old Hall of Fame light fixtures. We used to have them in every school, but they all got thrown out because of stupid remodeling. There's nothing I hate more than remodeling. It's just stupid. But anyway, let me put this back and then I will grab the little black menace. Oh, Milton, where are you? Come here, kitty. Okay. Screw that in. Oh, there we go. Okay, we don't want that to turn on just yet. Okay, Milton, let's go. Milton. Milton. Come on. Milton. Milton. Here he comes. Come on. Milton. Let's go. There he is. Hello, little Milton. Come on in. Yeah, he's a cute little kitten. Come here, baby. Yeah, he's a baby. Come on. What? You're a silly puss. Here he is. What's going on, little guy? He's such a good little kitty. Let's see. All right. No. Okay. Maybe 5 years now. I'm going to move the keyboard off to the side. Hopefully he won't step on it and knock me offline. No, Milton. Come on. You're a nice little kitten. Look at that. He's a little sweetie. Look at that little cutie. Say hello. You're such a good cat. You're so cute. Oh, my goodness. What a nice little kitten he is. Ow! Stop it. What's the matter with you, huh? You can't behave for 5 seconds. This little beast, look at that, trying to bite. How dare you? You're such a cute little thing. No, no biting. Ow. Look at those teeth. Look at those teeth. Look at those little teeth. No. Be a nice kitty. Be a nice kitty. Hmm? Okay. Now you settle down. I'll let you stay here. Oh, well, that's interesting. Let's see how long before he knocks me offline now. I have a feeling I'm not going to get knocked offline because before I had cables that were sort of like a bird's nest, and he got attracted to the cables and he would chew in the microphone cord and everything. Well, now I have all the cables wrapped with the convoluted tubing, and the stereo is strapped to the countertop, and everything is stable. So there's really nothing he can do other than hit the keyboard and knock me offline. I see now he's on the flow. He's smelling around. He's looking for a cable to bite into, but he can't find one. You're so cute. Okay, let's see. Ah, Milton, the new Paris Hilton. Okay, he's perfect. Yes, he is. Oh, and yeah, here you're thinking of doing the lion diet to see if my skin gets better. I think I eat too much bacon, even though I buy low sodium beef. Feels the best to me. Yeah, I think beef works for a lot of people. That seems to be the way to go. LOL. Black Beauty walks with me. Yes. Oh, meow. He's a little carnivore. Yes, he is. He loves to eat his raw meat. That's his thing. And you see how he's growing. He's doing really well. A Black Panther. He's like a little Black Panther. He's a little menace. That's what he is. The LED and high pressure sodium lamps used to last for decades. Low pressure sodium, yeah, but didn't have a good color rendering. That's true. But at least they had a warm 2400 Kelvin temperature, unlike many of the new LEDs. And you know, the other thing is for the street lights, when the LEDs fail, a lot of times they tend to go blue, which is really annoying, especially if they start to flash and go blue, because then you think that you're being followed by the blue light special, which when I see flashing blue lights, I am never happy because that usually means more hassle. Hey, little guy, you silly little Milton. What do you want? I see he's looking at the computer screen. I don't know if you can see those little ears. Yeah, there's my little monster. He loves to attack the computer screen. All right. I used to have only black cats as a kid. We had many different cats over the years. My first cat was a black cat. I've had orange cats. I've had the best success with black cats and those orange tabby cats, and I also had a sort of a gray tiger tabby. That was my cat Tiger. Oh, he's settling down. Look at that. I can't believe it. Here, let me move this computer. There he is. He's settling down. That's a good sign. I think as he gets older, he's going to be less and less of a problem. No, no, stay away from that water. Oh my goodness. No. Oh, goodness. The cat, he's got plenty of water, but he likes to drink out of mine. I'm going to put this on the shelf. And you'll notice that's all I drink is ice water. We don't do coffee here. I know that a lot of people enjoy their coffee, but I live in a tropical climate, so drinking anything hot is not appealing to me. Oh boy, Milton, you are something else. Okay. I think everything will be pretty stable. Milton seems to be a lot better. And I think my taking the time to fix the wiring and the computer and everything has made everything a lot better. And I don't understand why it is, but my computer is still running better. It's not getting like the fan's not coming on, it's not overheating. It makes me wonder if part of my problem was just caused by bad wiring. I don't know how that would even make a difference. Okay. Your Pottinger's cat. Yeah, well, he gets the raw meat, so he'll be good. Beef is awesome. Yes, it is. Rick, we rescued a black cat. She lived indoors all her life. Lived with us, 15 years old. Bombay, her name. Hey, they can last quite a while. Cats are pretty amazing if you feed them right. His coat is beautiful. That's what happens when you feed them meat. They love that. This cat is so sleek. He's a nice cat. Hard to believe that he was just running around in the street as a kitten. How are the ducks, Rick? They're outside. They're over there eating something, and I don't see them mating right now, but they were mating earlier, so hopefully we'll be getting some eggs soon. Haha. I spent my birthday at Panther Ridge, Big Cat Sanctuary, 2 weeks ago. It was amazing. We went at night. They do a twilight 3-hour tour once a month. Waxahachie, Florida. Interesting. Waxahachie, that's where Lion Country Safari was or is, I think. I don't drink coffee. Sometimes I'll have some cream and hot water. Hey, that works. William McCartney. I have a neighbor woman who has cats and are the outdoor cats. They hunt at night and come home only to sleep. The last one to die was 22 years old. Wow, that's a long time. My last one, they lived to 21. That was Garfield. He was indoor outdoor one time, but he became too much of a problem, got in too many fights, and got injured. And I just didn't have the money to try to take him to a vet, so I had to fix it myself. And I just turned him into a house cat. He lived to 21 years old. I think he died of a heart attack because he was just dead in the morning. He never got skinny or sickly. He just dropped dead. One morning I went to pet him and his tail wasn't moving. And I'm thinking, well, that's weird. He was under the dining room table and he was just dead. So I dug a hole in the yard and buried him like all my other pets. They're all buried out in the yard. Okay. I have a neighbor woman who has cats, and they're indoor, outdoor cats. Let's see. They hunt. Okay. That's hunt at night. Okay. Thanks, Rick, for the live stream. Well, thanks for being here. Good night, Annabella. All right. Well, that's good. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things that I'd like to talk about, but I try to prioritize the chat, the comments, and stuff like that. But this is not just my channel, this is your channel. I have been on YouTube over 17 years. I posted my first video back in 2007. So, and the first time I used YouTube was in 2006. When I started YouTube, they still had private messaging. And I was told, and I found out this is probably correct, that YouTube was originally a dating site. The idea was you would post videos and then they would either thumbs up or thumbs down the video. And then that way, it was a way, it's sort of like, like a dating site, basically. But of course, it was originally a site for home movies and stuff like that. Now, today, it's turned into sort of a media empire where you have people over there fighting to try to get views, try to make some money. So far, I have made zero. I have not made a single penny on YouTube up to this point. I don't get anyone trying to contact me for any kind of sponsorship because, again, I'm not an influencer, I'm a de influencer. I'm the kind of person that discourages you from wasting your money. So no one is going to want to sponsor me. But on the other hand, being able to meet people, that was my goal. And although it's not technically a dating site, meeting people is sort of a form of dating, I guess. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to meet people. Now, let's see. We got some more comments here. My tiny 4-pound is 5-year-old, been raw carnival. Okay. Chihuahua, yo quiero Taco Bell? No, we don't want Taco Bell. We want real meat. Rick would send you a super chat. Well, I I don't know even how you do that, but I thought about eventually making some kind of website. I know they have a buy me a coffee website, but I don't drink coffee. Maybe buy me eggs or buy me steak or something like that. I don't know. But hopefully, what's going to happen is that once I meet the right people and I know where I'm going to move to, my biggest expense here is property tax. It's just way too expensive. Here in the United States, they don't allow you to own your own home. You have to rent it from the government. And it's called a property tax. And between my lot and my house, it's $10,000 a year that I have to spend. So, and that's because everything here is just so overpriced. People here, it's basically an unrealized tax on capital gains, which I think is unconstitutional, but they do it anyway. So once I move somewhere else and I have an agricultural exemption, it's going to be a lot cheaper. And, it comes down to this. I would rather make less money and have less expenses than make more money and have more expenses. Because the more money you make, then you end up paying more income tax. Thankfully, I don't pay any income tax because I don't have any income. By the time I pay the property tax, there's no money left over. So what little income I have, it goes to tools and expenses and materials and all this. And I have my income set so I have just enough to be under the federal minimum. So by the time I do my income tax, I get zero. Now, of course, since I don't have a job with the W 2, I don't get a refund. But every year I just go without having to pay any. And the other thing is, too, I don't have to worry about health insurance because since I have no income, I don't have to buy health insurance. On the other hand, they won't give it to me because I live in Florida and they don't give you Medicaid unless you have a bunch of kids and you're, pregnant, I guess. So I just kind of survive. And this is the reason why I don't do super chats. I don't send people money because I just don't have it. I would rather give my time than try to give money I don't have. Now, let's see here. Okay. Many of my beloved cats are all buried in my yard. Yeah, I've been in the same house for decades. Yeah, same thing here. We have a question here. Rick, Charger Mopar, do you remember the internet before Google? AO? Oh, yes, I do. The first time I ever used the internet was in 1995. And that's where, I got the idea to start a business in networking. The first time I had internet in my home was in 1998. and we used something called the Cephalin FreeNet, which was a Southeast Florida Library Information Network. We had to dial up. I have several modems. I don't know if I have one handy, but I have everything from a 300 baud modem all the way up to the 56K. When we went on the internet, we had to do that. They had CompuServe, some people would use, and of course AOL. And I have AOL discs. Well, I thought I did. Oh, oh well. Well, I put that stuff away. I got tired of looking at it, but I do have some. They used to send us all the time these AOL floppy disks and eventually AOL CDs. They always had some trial amount. I never really did that. So let's see. Yeah, lots of wild stuff. Do you remember ICQ, the Internet Relay Chat Program? I think recently they just stopped doing it, but that was one of the first internet chats I ever used. And sometime around 2000, I discovered voice over IP. And eventually, they had Skype and all that. But I was using peer to peer voice over IP in the year 2000. So, yeah, I remember the internet from way back when. The internet was exciting to me because before the internet, all you had was long distance calls, and that was just way too expensive. So, most of the time, if we wanted to send information, we used the US mail. A stamp was cheap, although it did take time. Let's see. Um, all right. Let me see here. Many on cats. We doesn't agree with raw. Who doesn't? Okay, Vet doesn't agree with raw. Well, I've been giving my cats raw meat for years, and there's no problem. Another YouTuber, Blaze V, recently mentioned how the way of chewing meat without cutting into small pieces important for some of the teeth. It's funny. I don't use a knife or fork, so if you if you've seen me eat, which I've done several times, I know I use no utensils. My mother used to call me a caveman, so that was one of those things. Miami is expensive. Yes, it is, unfortunately. What about home and car insurance here in Florida? It's nuts. My policy doubled since 2023. I don't have home insurance. My home is a dump. So it's going to be worth more money if it gets blown over. Because here in my neighborhood, one of the things they'll do is tear down the house as soon as they buy it. So I have a feeling that I'll just patch the place up the best that I can. And whoever buys it next is going to start all over again. Even if they don't tear it completely down, they're going to take out everything that has any character. And that's it. So, anyway, hello from South Georgia. I'm late. Well, better late than never. I'm glad to have you here. Jonathan says, I'm getting concerned about your coughing. You didn't do this 10% as much a year ago. Well, I'll tell you what's causing it. I have been going through some of the moldiest, dirtiest, nastiest stuff you can ever imagine. I ripped out a bunch of termite eaten crap, and there's there's mold, there's everywhere. If you look around this house, the more you dig into it, the worse it gets. Now, if I'm outside, I don't do that. If you've ever seen me ride my bike, I don't really do that. Or maybe it's just satire, you never know. Okay. Good morning, Rick. Have an awesome day. Well, thank you very much, Deborah. Using ICQ in 2007 was my first work chat. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was back in the old days. We used to use that. That's all we had. We didn't have things like, I mean, they had AOL, of course, but there was no Facebook. There was no Instagram. There was a TikTok or any of that stuff. YouTube didn't exist. Imagine just to post a video was a mission. My first web page that I ever put up was on a site called GeoCities, which was eventually bought by Yahoo. And I had several web pages on GeoCities. And of course, you probably remember MySpace as well. There was ways of linking to external sites. We'd link to the GeoCities page. I was doing HTML and all that stuff. Yeah, but those definitely the old days. All right. Question. So iguanas run around like lizards there. Yes, they do. I grew up in St. Petersburg where there's the little lizards. They look like tiny dinosaurs. They're kind of like that. We still have the little lizards to an extent, not as much as we used to, but they're still out there. But yeah, the native lizards are small. The iguanas came later. There was also what was known as a Cuban anole, but they seem to have disappeared. We don't have as many as we used to. It seems like the iguanas have just taken over because they eat almost anything. Okay. See, Kim's appreciates life. My home in Boca is paid off. My neighbor said I should drop my home policy and get my car policy elsewhere. I'm too afraid to do that. Well, if you can't fix your own home and you don't want to have to live, after a hurricane, like in my case, I had a tree fall through the roof here at my parents' house and I came down. I had the roof repaired by the next day. I keep a stock of roofing paper, wood, I have a generator. I keep a tarp big enough to cover the roof. So even if the place gets wrecked to an extent, I can patch it up. And the secret here is getting it patched up before the county comes around because those people they all come out like an army a week after the storm and try to write up everybody, condemn, so they can get more money out of you. So the first thing you want to do is repair any damage you can and cover up what you can. That's the way I do it. Throw a giant tarp over the whole house. And when they come around saying they're going to help you, throw rotten duck eggs at them. It works every time. By the time that they come back, which may be a couple of weeks later, you've already got the place fixed. And that's it. You don't have to worry about it. Now, I actually have a crack in one of the windows that came from Hurricane Andrew because the wind blew so hard it shook the window and it's never been repaired. So, but it's up to you. If you value your home and you're not able to fix it, you might as well just keep the insurance. But if you're like me and you realize your home is old, nobody wants it, the only thing they're going to buy is the land, don't even bother. Just try to do what you can, try to make the repairs you can. Um, if you have halfway decent windows, that's good. If not, get some hurricane panels. I use the steel panels, they're very effective. I have original windows, I don't worry about them. And again, if you're a person that's not in good health, I wouldn't recommend relying on hurricane panels because unless you have kids or friends that'll put them up for you, you're going to have a big problem when the storm is coming. So I would be against that for some people. But then again, if you don't have the money, you're just going to have to go without. That's what I do. All right. How many square feet is your house? This house is 25 by 50. So, what is that? 1,500 square feet, something like that. It's not very big, but it's big enough for me. I'm one person. It does the job. One of the reasons it's a lot full of a lot of stuff, and that's why it does seem to be a little cramped. But when I move, some of that stuff is going to be used. I do have some spare materials and stuff like that. And I have a yard full of stuff between all the plants, the ducks, and all the other projects. There's just a lot of stuff here. So, anyway, okay, we have 40 people still. That's good. Now, it really is important. Let's see. Hi, Rick. Better late than never. That is true. And I'm sure that once the old guy carnivore live stream has completed, then we'll get more people. Now, I need to check and see if the financial prepper channel is going to have a stream, and I'll go there. But for now, things are good. Okay, so now that I've caught up with the comments, and again, I like to keep up with the comments. I don't like to be like the YouTubers that start talking about stuff and the comments pile up. People ask questions, they make statements. Let me tell you a few things that I want to mention about YouTube. Now, it really is critical to me that the message of sustainable living, carnivore diet, and avoiding scams stays out there. So it's really important that all of us do our part. Now, one of the natural things that a lot of people do, they tend to they tend to default to authorities, celebrities and authorities, and leaders. Most people like to follow a leader. So they like to find an individual that they can identify with, and then they project everything that they want onto that individual. And this happens with all communities. It doesn't matter what it is. You think about, for example, vegans. They always have these people that they look to as sort of a authority. You know, when they run into a problem, they can refer to that person. It's the same thing with politics. You have people out there, they make promises that they're never going to keep, but it makes you feel good. You think, I'm going to put this person in this job, and then everything's going to go well. You could be a company, you could have a spokesman. Think about Subway sandwiches. Remember, they had a spokesman? What was the guy's name? I think his name was Jared. And he was fat and he ate Subway sandwiches and he lost weight. And they relied on that advertising campaign. Well, what eventually happened to Jared? Well, let's just say he wasn't the best character. And then what happened? Well, their advertising campaign goes down the drain. So when you put a certain amount of values into a certain individual or group of individuals, everything is depending on the character of that. And the problem is, let's say that you have a person that you put your trust in, and what happens? Well, they're going to sell out. Everyone, given the right amount of money, is going to sell out, and they're going to promote a product that may not be the best product. They're going to start some kind of program, or they're going to sell some type of supplement, or they're going to do all these things to make money. Now, I'm not going to criticize some of the YouTubers that we have, but if you've watched a lot of them, especially in the health space, a lot of them are promoting some type of supplement, some type of bacteria pill, some type of, whatever. Some of these things work, and some of these things are just snake oil. Now, you have people out there who are sincere, and they believe that the product has worked for them, and it probably has. But the thing is, if you have unreasonable expectations and you listen to someone and they say that this product is going to change your life, and you put your faith in that, and then what happens? You try the product and it doesn't work. This is also true of a lifestyle. This is true, for example, of the carnivore lifestyle. You have people out there talking about, I started the carnivore lifestyle and I cured this, I cured IBS, I had depression, I had this and that. I've all these things that I've done. And you get this unrealistic expectation. I'm going to start the carnivore diet and I'm going to cure all these things. Well, you're becoming just like the vegans. You go out there, you eat the carnivore diet, you may feel good or you may not feel good. But my saying, which is really important, is that it's a process. You need to try this yourself. You go out there, you try something. You want to try carnivore diet? Try the carnivore diet. You want to try living off grid? Try living off grid. But a lot of times people will jump into it. They'll get some property. They'll go out there and then they'll try to live off grid. And what happens? Well, they fail. They can't deal with it. They're too used to things being convenient. They go and they get DoorDash to get food, or they have a supermarket down the street. They don't realize that when they plant their garden, sometimes the garden may fail. You may have a flock of chickens and a fox or raccoon or something kills your chickens, and then what? So what happens a lot of times, people jump right into something and they don't realize that everything has risk. So if you're going to go off grid, for example, it would be a good idea to get to know people that are already off grid. If you're going to go into the carnivore diet, it's a good idea to know people that are carnivore. So a lot of times people will start these clubs or groups or whatever and try to get them in there and then try to know people. But you have to remember, not all groups are created equal. Some groups are organically formed from people that just want to get to know each other. And those are the good ones. Those are the ones you want to find. But other groups, they tend to be sort of like money making. And you're going to see this over and over again. When you see people constantly talking about money and money and money, there's a problem. When they talk about, well, for example, these infomercials, I get these commercials all the time. Do you want to make $1,000 from working 1 hour at your computer you know, look at my free, view my free video or whatever. You notice they never tell you exactly what you're going to do. They come up with this idea that you're going to get all these benefits and all these things are going to happen. And all you have to do is join my group, watch my video, or come attend my seminar. Come attend my seminar on how to buy real estate with no money down and all this stuff. You go to watch a YouTube channel to learn something, and they start talking about their background and how their life was and how many struggles they had and blah, 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 you know. And by that time, I usually just turn it off. And that's just the way that I am. So when you watch my live stream, I try to concentrate on the comments that I get. I try to concentrate on the things that people are doing. And I'm not really that worried about what I'm doing, but I do share the things that I like to do. And that's what I've been trying to do lately. I see a few more comments. Someone said, pervert. Yeah, that was Jared. Good morning, Rick, watching from Philippines. Good morning to John Michael. Very good. With pills, it's ambiguous because of potential for placebo effect. That is true. That is very true. How do we know if these supplements actually work? So that's a very good point. Once a week man, Rick, you are the least likely person to sell out. That is also true. The thing about me is that unlike a lot of the YouTubers, I'm not trying to promote anything. My goal is to get to know like-minded people. Let's see. Your opinion of Robert Kiyosaki. He really promises the wealth by debt. And the thing is, if you look at this guy's history, the only reason he got money is because he had money, he accessed money. 99.9% of the people that have money, they got that because they had access to money. There is no individual out there that is so smart that he or she can just create money out of nothing. And it's like I've heard many times, if you're on a deserted island where all you have is fish and coconuts, no matter what you do, all you're going to have is fish and coconuts. There's just no way you're not going to be able to create a Lamborghini out of fish and coconuts. It's impossible. You can't even create a Volkswagen out of fish and coconuts. The thing is, in order to succeed, in order for you to be successful, you have to be around other people. And in general, if you're going to be super wealthy and do nothing, you're exploiting other people. You're a parasite. That's what you are. So when you think of someone like Kiyosaki, he's a parasite. All these people that are out there trying to get into real estate, renting, and all that, they're parasites. This is what they call the rentier class. It's like a toll booth on a road. The idea is we're not going to create anything of real value. The only thing that we're going to do, we're going to take advantage of someone who's in a bad situation. Maybe they need the money now. So we're going to pay them less for what they own. And then we're going to jack up the price. We're going to adjust things to make it look like it's more valuable. And then we're going to get rich. That's the whole thing. But the thing is this, when you're a parasite, do you want other parasites to join you? Of course not. When you're a parasite, you're looking for a host. So every one of these parasites, they always do the same thing. They promote a lifestyle that you're never going to get. It's like multi-level marketing. Think of Amway. Think of these companies. The idea is you're going to sell this product, but you're going to sell it for more than it's really worth. And in today's world, where we have online shopping, it's very easy. Anyone can go on Alibaba or even one of these other websites. I mean, you got Temu. Now the stuff's not as cheap as it used to be, but if you're going to go out there and sell these products, how are you going to do that? There was a guy that used to have a scam. Says I make millions from tiny little ads, and I forget what his name was. It was some dark-haired guy, and I can't remember. But again, this was back in the 90s, and I just can't remember. Again, I want to make a video on some of these scammers because there were so many of them out there, and most of them basically they've either burned out or a lot of times they cycle out. So what they'll do, they'll scam people for a while, and then people will realize that they're scammers, and then they'll disappear. Then they'll reinvent themselves and come up with a new scam. Dave Delgado. There was another one that was really popular in Carlton Sheets, but there's another one out there. I can't remember his name. Then you have the self-help people. These are the funniest of all. They say all you have to do is be aggressive, and you have to go out there and you have to win, and then blah blah blah. It's like a coach telling his team how they're going to win, and then they just get wiped out anyway because they just don't have what they need. So let's see. Um, I was thinking of Robert Kiyosaki, another phony. Yeah, late night TV ads to get thin or rich are all fraud. Exactly. You know, it's like when now that's my concern is, are people going to promote the carnivore diet as a way of getting rich or getting thin? Well, I can tell you for a fact, you can be thin. I mean, look at me. I got no muscle. I'm just a skinny guy, and I eat all that I want. I eat a lot of food. But to make promises you can't keep, you look at some of the other carnivores out there. I mean, for example, have you seen Carnivore Kip? He's struggling for a long time to try to get. He's always been fat, and yet he's making progress. But it's a slow, difficult process. And I like watching channels like that because you can see that it's not an instant thing. It's a struggle. It's not just the physical food; it's the mental as well. And the best way you can do it is with support. You need people that are going to support you individually and until you change your mindset. Now, if you're a quack like me and you want to kill yourself with a heart attack, it's very easy because it's like, why do I want to eat the so-called healthy food? I can't imagine it. It's like my parents always used to buy me nuts and seeds to try to eat, sunflower seeds and walnuts and all this stuff. I said, I don't want to eat seeds. I want to eat eggs instead. Okay, let's see. We got a lot of good comments. Oh, we got 55 people. I guess the other live stream must have ended. So I'm glad that you're here. Late night TV ads. Okay. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, bought the board game. I am still in the rat race. See, it didn't work. I love the carnivore community online. I have found carnivores in my small church. Yeah. And that's the thing. We want to be individuals that have our own little groups. Are we still there yet? Yes, we are. And I'm back. Good to have you back. Hi, Lori. How about the last 10 minutes of Mitch? There you go. Good morning, Rick, watching from Philippines. Hi, Tanya. Is this still live? Yes, it is still live. I'm still here. You won't find anyone who can talk more than me. When I go on other people's live stream, I keep quiet because I'm a polite person. But when I'm the one doing the talking, I keep going. This is one of the reasons why when I had my business, a lot of times I was out there, I was promoting the benefits of networking and the software we were using. I would make our promotional videos. I even made tutorials for customers, and they all enjoyed them. I also taught at the college, as you probably know. I don't want to discuss it here. Okay. I met Kip at 5K. Yeah, I wish I could meet him one day. I would love to get to his meetup, but I don't know how I could. He looks sincere. Some people have criticized his channel, saying that he's just trying to get attention and whatever. You got to stop doing that. Stop criticizing these people. Why would you do that? Obviously, you got a guy that's trying to lose weight. He wants to be alive for his daughter. I mean, come on, people. Be nice. You're not going to gain anything by trashing somebody. It doesn't make sense. You know, even the vegans that I like to laugh at, I don't trash them. I go to my vegan friends and they're eating their, grass or whatever else they're eating. I don't make fun of them. I don't laugh at them and say, "Oh, look at that garbage you're eating. Oh, you're eating mulch." No, I don't do that. I bring them. In fact, if I go to my vegan friend, I bring here some bananas or mangoes or whatever else I got. Oh, would you like a mango? No, I don't. I don't eat mangoes. But it's the thing is, my view is very simple. If you're happy with your life, why do you have to trash everybody else's? I get a lot of comments on my channel. Oh, you look unhealthy. Oh, that Rick, he's terrible, this and that. And every single one of those channels does not have a single video that they made at all. Even the vegans that are militant don't criticize my channel. They're too busy promoting their lifestyle. So if you're one of those people out there that is trying to spread the message, being sort of attacking other channels just doesn't make sense. I do not have a problem promoting other people's channels on my channel. If you're a vegan and you want to promote your channel, come on to my channel. We're fine. If you're a vegan and you want to have a discussion with me, you can do that. I don't get personally offended. Remember, they talk about a carnivore zen. When you've been carnivore as long as I have, you've lived in a place like Miami as long as I have, and you've dealt with as many people as I have. You get to the point where you don't care anymore. It's very hard to be personally offended. And I don't care what pot shots you take at me. It's a waste of time because I don't care. I'm a quack. I'm not trying to promote anything. I'm not trying to show my Lamborghini and crappy condo on Brickell Avenue and all this other crap. And, that's not me. I could care less. I don't wear designer clothes. In fact, if you've noticed, I never wear any shirts with any messages on it. Now, I've had people accuse me of being Mennonite or being Amish, but you'll notice I don't have a beard, so I'm not Amish or Mennonite. Although they did say that Amish, before they get married, often shave off the beard. So, maybe I could pass for Amish, but I'm too old. There's no way that I could pass for Amish. But some of the kids in my neighborhood, they used to say that I was Amish. I said, Amish don't drive cars and trucks, you know. like, but it's kind of funny. But and that's the thing, I like that idea of the lifestyle of not trying to promote yourself, like the Amish and Mennonites have. Um, there's a lot of things out there that we could learn from them. Now, I'm not going to go without electricity, although I do want to go off grid. That would be my goal. I've been off grid every so often. I go off grid. It's been more than a year since I went off grid the last time, but when I had my wood power generator running, I would go off grid for a week. I like to practice because then that way, when we have a hurricane or other disaster, my lifestyle is the same. The way I'm living right now with air conditioning and lights and everything, this is me after a hurricane. We had Hurricane Katrina and Wilma, no problem. We had Irma, that was back in 2017. I was living just like this and I was taking care of my mother. So, I like that being resilient is a good thing. And if you're one of those people that is on the carnivore diet, if you can hunt some of your own food, and again, you see Carnivore Kip out there doing some hunting, if you have that opportunity, or you can have chickens or other small animals that you can raise, that's a good thing. Even if you have to eat pigeons, what are you going to do? So, anyway, that's kind of my goal. And again, you'll never see me out there promoting a product. Well, I don't say never, because if I did find a good source, if I found something that I could use, maybe welding supplies or some kind of nuts and bolts or bearings or whatever, if I find a good supplier that I personally buy from, I will promote it. But the thing is, I'm not going to make any money off of it because anything that I buy is going to be at a very good deal. So I may only get 2% or whatever they give me. I mean, it's better than nothing, but you're not going to see me getting rich. And I hate to say it, but I'm one of those people that I really don't like promoting wealth. So if you did see me, I'm not going to be out there with the Lamborghini because I absolutely hate those things. And I would never buy an overpriced condo. I'm always going to live in a small house. I like having, I mean, my house is 1,500 square feet. I'd rather have a house that's less than 1,000 square feet and then have a large shop or garage detached. That's what I want. So I may have a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot shop or garage and a 1,000 square foot house. That's what I like. Like having a lot of windows. I have a window on each corner. I like looking out the window and seeing plants. I don't like looking out the window and seeing cities and tall buildings and all that. And again, I wish I could turn this thing around. Um, Maybe I can. Let's see. Can you see? Yeah, I don't think you can see outside. Yeah, this isn't going to work. Hope I don't cut myself off. How's that? Can you see that view? Yeah, it looks like it. That's my front yard. Now notice I don't have to see any of the neighbors. I don't have to, I got, the windows are closed. I don't have to listen to all the noise. I don't have to look at their overpriced cars and all the other junk that they do. I just like looking at that. That's the kind of view that I want. Okay, there it is. Let me turn this back. All right. So, yeah, that's the other benefit of getting all the cables together, because now I can turn the monitor around. I can turn it around to different parts of the room. Uh-oh. Okay. The last time I tried to do that, I got cut off online, but now it seems to be fine. So, again, yeah, I mean, it's nice. I look outside when I'm looking at the monitor, I'm looking outside. And this is one of the things that I used to hate about school, because when I was a kid in school, we had windows. But as time went on, they got rid of the windows in a lot of schools, and today you have a lot of these offices that don't even have a view outside. They may have windows on there, but there's nothing to see. And if you're downtown, you look out the window of an office building, what do you see? A bunch of other buildings. It's really depressing, I have to admit. But I do love looking outside, and when I'm done with this live stream, I'll be going outside. So that's one of the things that I really look forward to. All right, let's see who we got. I see we got more people. I guess they're coming in. That's a good thing. There was a problem. Oh, look at this. Okay. Milton was grounded. Yes. Um, okay. Wow, got a lot of comments. Okay. Carnivore Kip lives thinking about going but don't know. If you can, you should. I challenge you that no one can talk more than you. Lori's carnivore story. Well, hey, maybe one day we'll do a live stream together. Bonjour from France. I wish I could eat regular carnivore things like eggs. Carnivore. Okay, that's good. Um, I'm designing a new business card to give prospective clients in person. Carnivore muscle. That's good. I'm sure that once they see you in person, they might be a little intimidated. So that's a good thing. Came here to calm down. Well, thank you so much. I'm a relatively calm person, unless the house is on fire or a tree's falling on the house. They glitch. I saw that coming. Mitch doesn't want a teacher's pet. Okay. I gave you a shout out on old car. Okay, that's good. Rick, you are sitting on a treasure trove. You are blessed. Well, thank you very much. I want Milton right now as a support animal. I'll let him back in if you want, but he's a little menace, but I'll let him in. I check your channel for a second. It's cool. Okay. I gotta go to some of these other channels too. All cheers. Okay, much appreciated. There was a problem on the Mitch's show. Glad I missed it. I don't know. That's the one day I don't watch it. I'm trying to talk to my husband and getting chickens. Well, hey, if you can get them, you can get them. I missed it too. I'm gonna. Okay. I was over at Mitch's space also. I agree with those living conditions, Rick. Yes, me too, Terry Sue. Humble house and a little land. That's the way to go. Are you good with a chainsaw? Think of your word power generator. Yes, I've always had to use a chainsaw, and I actually developed my own leverage wood splitter I had on the back of my truck. So I cut it into 12-inch logs, and I had a long rod sticking out, and I could pull it down to split the logs. So it was really handy. Okay, let's see. Rick, do you do repairs for other people or just yourself? I do both. I do repairs for myself and I do it for other people. I have a loyal group of customers. I don't go out there looking for work, but people that I know that have seen my work, they call me back. It's kind of interesting. A friend of mine needed an air conditioner installed. He waited 2 months until I could do it. Of course, the old one was still running. We had ordered the new one, and I finally got it done. And I've done this. I've done everything from septic tank drain fields to electrical plumbing, roof repairs, all types of things. I am not licensed. I am not permitted by the government, but I do it under the table and for cash. And the work that I do is better than almost anyone, including the licensed contractors. I challenge any of them to do a better job. In fact, a friend of mine that's in the air conditioning business, he always praises the work that I do. He saw the last job that I did and he was like, wow. Because what I did, I got rid of the refrigerant lines and went up the wall. I ran them inside the house through the wall space and I removed all the rigs that were outside. I even replaced the disconnect and I recessed it in the wall. It was a lot of work. But the thing was, my friend, he lives in a nice home and he didn't want that ugliness. The old electrical was rusting and running down the wall, and they had bricks and stones, and I redid everything, but it came out really nice. But yes, I do work for both. Okay, let's see. Love the greenery. Okay, we have a question over here. Rick, you wouldn't happen to have the original Oregon Trail game on floppy disk? You know what? I'm going to have to look. I have a lot of old games. I don't know if I've thrown them out, but even if I have it on disk, I wonder if it'll even work because those floppies go bad. Bummer, I have to change my phone. Get you on the TV. I was watching Mitch. Didn't notice any problems. Okay, love the community. A lot of them skipped over here. Well, that's good. That's an awesome view. Yes, I'm glad you like my yard. Rick, you are the carnivore philosopher. Well, thank you, Primel. Thank you. I live in an apartment, but one whole wall is floor to ceiling windows. Well, that's good. Lori is so calm. Okay. Allergies. I put people to sleep many times. Thank you. In what year was your house and neighborhood built? 1959. The neighborhood is called Westwood Estates. I have the original brochures. Once I get to the file cabinet in the back, of the lock is stuck. So I'm going to have to probably cut it. My safe is also stuck. I'll deal with that eventually. Rick is so easy to listen to. Well, thank you. Papa Carnivore Peter, I'm back. I wanted you to know that I am going to stay on your Saturday Lives from now on and not leave. Okay, to go to Ventures Live. You appreciate my honest opinion without judging. Well, that's good. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. Easy listening. Well, that's the kind of music I like to listen to, as you know. If you've ever heard music in the background, it's all elevator music. That's what I call it. And they say there's the carnivore rock star. Well, I'm the carnivore elevator music star because I'm the one that, if we had easy listening radio, I would be the one who would be the disc jockey. I've also been compared to Fred Rogers. You remember Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? I think that in many ways I would be like the carnivore version of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So we'll just call it Mr. Rodriguez's Neighborhood. But it's that's another parody I want to do. Mr. Rodriguez's Neighborhood with a little house with a bunch of old cars on blocks, ducks all over the place, giant trees. That would be too funny. And then, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, a wonderful day to be neighborly. Have some crazy neighbors. They did that, I think, on Saturday Night Live. You had, I think it was Eddie Murphy, Mr. Robertson's Neighborhood or whatever it was. That was pretty funny. Okay, let's see. Now the comments are coming in strong. Look at that. Nice. Okay. Easy listening. I love Rick's voice and his cadence. Well, thank you, Lori. Jonathan has a question. What tips would you recommend to someone struggling to get enough food that is trying to become absurdly muscular? I'm the last person you should ask about being muscular, as skinny as I am. But, the one thing that I can tell you is that eating is sort of like it's something you have to practice. I would avoid the one meal a day OMAD. If you want to gain weight, eat 3 times a day. Get up in the morning, have breakfast, have lunch, have dinner, and just enjoy your food. If you can really enjoy your food, you're going to want to eat. The only reason I don't eat more is because I don't have it. If I had unlimited meat, I would probably eat all day. I'm one of those people that can eat a lot of meat. But I think a lot of times, some people may need a little help. They need a little spices or they need a little sauce or whatever. If you're one of those people that needs a little spice, don't feel bad about it. If you want to eat more, try a little snacking. I know I don't snack, but you could try Jonathan's Carnivore Butter Bites. There's also, non-sugared ice cream. There's carnivore chips. Check out the guy Chris Cooking Nashville. He cooks all kinds of carnivore stuff. It's a little complicated, but those are good things you could try because if you're not eating, you're probably bored with your food and your stomach can only hold so much. So if you're going to eat one meal a day, you're going to be limited as to what you can eat. But if you eat 3 times a day, maybe eat 4 times a day. Why not? There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to gain, if you're working out and you're pushing your body in the gym, you're moving weight around, you're progressively increasing the resistance, you need more food. If you're like me and you're just a quack working for a living, you don't need more food. The 3 to 6,000 calories a day that I get is fine for me. But for a normal person, that may be enough. Now, what do I eat in a day? Well, I had a T-bone steak and I had 2 eggs for breakfast. For lunch, I'm going to have about 4 pounds of heart attack chicken. I ate a whole chicken yesterday that somebody gave me that was frozen. And boy, it was good. And what else did I have? Well, nighttime, I had my 2 pounds of ground beef stew. So I usually eat 5 pounds of meat a day. I used to eat 4 eggs. Now I'm eating 2. And I eat about 4 ounces of cheese and I eat yogurt. I eat about a pint of yogurt per day. So that's actually pretty good. So that's really, really nice. All right. The comments are coming in strong now. So I got to stop blabbing and start commenting. Okay. We have some people here that I'll keep you in mind for repairs. Well, that's good. He walks. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Let me see if I can hit another one here. What in the world happened? Rick loves the Carpenters. Yes. Oh, I love the Carpenters. When I was a kid, one of my favorites, in school, we used to sing in our music class. They had Top of the World. You remember? Top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only. And there was that one. And then there was also, let me think. I don't know how you know that I like the Carpenters. That's interesting. Then they had the, what was it, I Long to Be Close to You. But my favorite song as a kid, and I think to this day, there was one, it was called Sunday Will Never Be the Same. And I used to sing a Carnivore version of it, which I'm going to do one of these days. Except instead of saying Sunday will never be the same, I always said, you're going to have a heart attack. That was my thing. So, yeah, I always like that stuff. Um, and yeah, this Carpenters are awesome. It's a shame that Karen Carpenter was anorexic. If she would have been a carnivore, she might still be around right now, if you think about it. And a lot of it is just people are just so mean. They start telling you that you're fat, you're getting fat, whatever, and they take it to heart. People make fun of me all the time on how skinny I am and how I have this thing on my eye over here and I look terrible and whatever. And they say that I dye my hair, which I don't. There's all kinds of things. And I don't care. I think it's funny because it's like this the more negative comments I get, the more attention I get. So if I wanted to be a big YouTuber, I would encourage the negative comments, trash me, make fun of me, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't bother me because unless you're over there trying to attack me in person, I'm not going to react. Now, if you're trying to attack me in person, I will fight back. But what else are you going to do? I find that most of the people that make negative comments, they really they're not going to do it. If they saw you in person, they'd walk right by there. Okay, let's see. Okay. Rick, I made an animation about Dr. Oh, all right. Dr. Gregor, I guess. Oh, I got to see this. This is funny. Dr. Gregor, he's younger than me. He bobbles his head around and he walks on a treadmill. He's funny. I think he's really funny. Okay. Rick, my hero. Karen Carpenter, my idol. Well, good. I'm glad. Let's see. I started at this channel this morning. I guess for a reason. Well, I'm glad you are here, Terry Sue. I am glad. Go back and watch the replay. It will be posted soon. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. It has lots of farts and stickers. Oh, I can't wait to see that. Jonathan has a sense of humor. I love his channel. I really do. Everyone should watch it. Okay, let's see. Okay. Um let's see. I will. Carnival Joseph Jonathan. A better question is, what can you eat to grow 6'6"? You know what? If I knew that, I would tell you. I think it was a combination of genetics and the carnivore diet. But I do remember how my life changed. I am so happy that I started the carnivore diet because no one in my family has ever been 6'6". Can you imagine if I would have been in high school and I would have stayed small? And I tried really hard to try to gain muscle, working out, whatever. It didn't work. But instead, I grew tall, and my brain just seemed to wake up. I went from being a poor student to an excellent student. The carnivore diet really changed my life. And it's like I was watching this guy, Caleb, Carnivore channel. I think he's 16. He's starting the carnivore diet. He struggled with weight. It's just nice to see teenagers starting the carnivore diet. You have other guys out there that are young. You have the Blaze V and the Max German, and I've been interviewed by both of them. They're young guys. They're starting the carnivore diet. It's just I'm so grateful, And also one thing that I'm really grateful for is having such great parents, because although my parents were moody at times, they really did care about me. They did everything they could. I think in my whole life I only had a babysitter once. My mother was constantly, they would alternate. My mom taught school. My dad took time off work to take care of me. Of course, when I went to school, he was able to work again. But my parents did everything they could to try to help me. And, I was rebellious and I did start the carnivore diet, and they were very upset about that. But, I thought about it. I was talking to a friend of mine that remembers me from back then last week. He says, your dad had told him that although you were eating this radical, crazy diet, you seemed to be happier. You were growing. So that's the reason why he let me do it. He says, you know what? My son was just frustrated and upset. And now he's growing taller. His grades are better. He's a happier person. He doesn't get upset as easily. I used to get upset and cry and get mad. I always felt powerless. But when I went on the carnivore diet, everything changed. And I saw the world as a big joke. Instead of getting worried about it and being serious all the time, I laugh about it. I don't get personally offended. I mean, what's the point? You know, all of us have a certain amount of time. This is it. When you're born, that's it. And then you can't make this any longer, but you can make it shorter. You could step in front of a train or bus and end it right now. Or you could do something stupid like smoking cigarettes or drinking sugary drinks or whatever and shorten your life. But there's nothing you can do to make it longer. And it even says that in the Bible. You know, for any of you that are Christians, you read the Bible, it says you can't add 1 cubit to your lifespan. You can't. There's nothing you can do to live longer. The only thing you can do is shorten it. And again, since I became more scientific minded, I use the concept of entropy to guide my life. Everything tends to go towards greater disorder unless you put more energy into it to turn it the other way. So, if you're trying to improve your life, you're going to have to put a lot more into it than you think. And that's a good thing. All right, let's see. Your YouTube is so calm. Oh, we jumped around. We got a lot of comments here. You mentioned you like the Carpenters. Yes. I was a teenager in the 70s. We did a lot of Carpenter songs. Yeah, they were really popular for a while. Were you Mitch's live? I'll unlist the video and share the link to your email. Okay, good. I appreciate it when someone talks about their success because it motivates me. Well, thank you. Rick, people don't know. I sing and Carnivore reduce the inflammation in my throat from snoring and consider getting back into singing. Well, CB Carmack, that is great. I didn't know you were talented at singing. Wow. Others chat and give their ideas, share their story. That's tips, but for some reason he gets very upset when I do it. Well, you know, Peter, probably what it is, you're out there getting into the space and you're becoming prominent. You're competition for a lot of the channels. Now you're with Carrie. And sometimes it makes me wonder if there's a dispute between some of the carnivore channels and Carrie's channel. I can see this dynamic going on. And I do criticize Carrie's channel at times, but I actually like him. I think he's a good person. I think deep down, he's one of those people that really wants to help. I do think that he's gotten a little bit too much into this documentary, but if you look at the way he treats his family and the way that he treats other people, I think he's genuine. Look at what, he sought out Bill Knott and tried to help him. Look at how shy Bill Knott is and all the things that have been done. So I think in many ways, there is this sort of thing going on. You have people out there trying to promote their YouTube channel and become prominent. And then there's like a little dispute going on. I don't care about that. That doesn't matter to me. I'm going to be dead in a few years. I'm having a heart attack. So who cares? I'm going to have fun while I can. And when the time comes, it comes, When you die, you're not going to think of anything. Who's going to be the one that's going to control what happens to you? It's not you. If you don't believe in God, you're going to rot. That's it. You're going to burn or rot. If you do believe in a God, then he may give you a reward, or he may let you burn or rot. Who knows? And I'm not going to worry about that. What I'm going to try to do is to share my experience and be a person that gives what he can. Now, if somebody wants to give me something in return, that's fine, but I'm not going to ask for it. You receive free, you give free. That's my motto here. Okay, going back here. Sorry to hear about your experience. What I've seen, he domineers the conversations, even if it's a panel of people. Well, that's true. And see, Jonathan understands, and also being neurodivergent, I think he's more aware of these things. Everybody likes to be the top one. Now, if I ever get streaming set up, notice that when I sit in other people's streams, I let them talk. I don't talk until someone comes up to me. Now, I will be in the Tuesday night. You have Russ Mitchell. He has the keto cookout, and I'm there. And again, as he says, you're not here to learn anything. We're just here to have fun. So I really do that. That's my thing. Let's see. None of his here's okay. I'm experimenting on gaining weight using whole fat. I got way behind on the comments. Okay. All right. I think I've gotten back, but I have 56 people now. So I guess once Mitch's live stream was over, they came to my live stream, and that's good. And again, I will talk for a very long time. It's been almost 2.5 hours. You can't stop me from talking. What I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to hurry up through this and try to wrap this up. Let me see. Okay, let me go down here. Hopefully, once I get my computer stable enough, I'll be able to run the OBS, and then you'll be able to see the comments along with me. Although I'm sure you can see them in my live stream. Okay, Papa Carnival. That's just Mitch's personality. I really do like Mitch. I'll continue to follow. Yeah. Well, you have to realize Mitch has a live stream every single day. Taking a break from his one day is not the end of the world. There's only so much that you can do on a live stream. You can complain about your life, you can talk about things, and I do that too, but I try to make little short videos. Retired Rick says, "Hi Rick." Hi Retired Rick. I've joined your channel I've subscribed to your channel. I try to subscribe to all the channels. It's just I can't watch all of them. I don't have that. Florida, don't be discouraged. I have 8 hens, says Texas Homemaker, but only 3 are laying right now. Well, it's seasonal, Papa, because you give the real advice, not just a little blah, blah, blah. Mitch wants to be the boss, and he's used to it. Okay. Retired Rick, Lori, hi. I agree that Mitch dominates panels. Yes. To me, that is the entertainment. Yeah, that's right, DS111. That is the entertainment. I see. I guess I'm quite ADD in my ways, however, heavily promote. Yes, you do. See, Jonathan's like me. He believes that promoting other channels is actually going to build your channel. You know, his testosterone 900. I wonder what mine is. I always say that I have no testosterone because I have zero libido. But then again, I seem to have a lot of energy. So I haven't been to a doctor in ages. I would be interested. Now, the one thing that I do know is that my facial hair grows extremely fast. One of these days, I may let it grow just to show that within a week, I can develop quite a thick amount of this stuff. So I must have a halfway decent amount of. Okay, let's see. Papa Carnivore, UK, whatever. Can you imagine? I believe I broke this tree on the panel. I'm not as surprised. So Rick reminds me of Robert Romano on Everybody Loves Raymond. I've heard that too. I've heard that. I don't catch why he got in your ass that bad. I'm gonna have to look at this. This is kind of interesting. I think it's an insecurity. I think so. He was over there kind of teasing me a little bit about mentioning my live stream. So I don't know. Well, whatever. Okay. Peter says, Tanya, thanks for your support. None of us should be reprimanded for sharing our ideas, story, whatever, called censorship. Well, it's his channel. He can do whatever he wants. So that's not an issue. Remember, if you don't like somebody on your channel, they can tell you off. If I don't like somebody, I'm not going to watch their channel. And you can do the same thing. And if their channel is not letting you promote what you want, start your own channel. That's my theory. Has a big issue with, has a issue with Dr. Barry. That's interesting because I don't really watch Dr. Barry's channel. There's just too many people on there. But I don't have an issue with Dr. Barry. I just don't watch it. You see my comment after that? Okay, there's a lot going on here. Let me tell you. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I've jumped around here. Damn it, I never check my grammar or spelling in a live chat. Hey, that happens. I attribute Mitch's cigar smoking as part of the act. Yes, so I can tolerate it. The other guy on the panel who does so looks sloppy, unsavory. Again, the cigar is his thing. He wants to be George Burns or what was the other one? What was the guy that used to be the comedian? Oh, let me think. Groucho Marx. That was another one. Hey, I don't have a problem with that. Smoke all the cigars you want. I'm not going to do it though. Okay. Damn it, I never check. Okay. I'm all good, but Mitch did go off on me big time for answering someone's legit question. I won't ever answer any questions or give my opinions on his channel. Well, you can give your opinion on mine. If somebody gets offended, they can talk to me. But again, I think Peter sometimes gets a little bit too out there, and I think people do get offended. So be careful. It's just one of those things. But again, you're not going to offend me. I could care less. All right, CB Carmack says, I have also committed this. I recommend going to a heart surgeon to get a brain operation. He didn't comment on that. You're pretty bad. Okay. It's okay. Just respect everyone's hard work and their channels. Yeah, misunderstandings will happen. Exactly. I'm not going to hold it against anybody. YCB, you're a very talented heart surgeon as well as sheriff. Rick, you are lucky you have never been obese. Well, thank you very much. I never have. I couldn't imagine being obese. Can you imagine sitting the way that I do if I was obese? I'd be terrible. Okay, I'm glad I didn't witness the clash from Mitch's thing. I love fake drama. All men are insecure. Like Rick says, your competition. Yes. As a community, Carrie's channel um, isn't liked. Whatever. He treated me like crap. And will not promote carnivore to AD. Well, see, that's the thing. I think a lot of these channels, they don't want to be associated with a neurodivergent community because you got to remember, like me, the carnivore quack, you don't see them inviting me on their channel. I don't think Carrie, I mean, I was on the early part of the channel in the 12 and 24-hour live stream, but he hasn't contacted me since because as an outlier, we are a threat to the popularity of these channels. And I think a lot of times they want to get sort of this group of people that are more normal. They want to have like somebody who started out terrible and then became normal. That seems to be the way the channels are going. My channel is different. My channel is about being a quack, being the oddball, being the one that everybody looks at. Because when you're 6'6", no matter what you do, people are going to look at you. That's just the way it is. So if you're going to ride around in a beat up old car, ride a bicycle that's abnormally large, and chase after ducks and iguanas, that's just part of it. That's just part of what it is. And on my channel, we welcome everyone. We welcome people, whether they are normal or whether they are completely abnormal. And I don't look, I'm not insecure because there is only one Rick. There will only be one Rick. There is no one else in the entire planet that even comes close to me at all. Zero. There's a lot of rich people. There's taller people. There's a lot of people that are better looking. And there are people that have a lot more talent than I do, but there is only one Rick and there will never be another. When I'm gone, they broke the mold. That's the end of it. So I could care less. All right, let's see. I agree. Drama, whatever. Okay. Have you heard from Joey Schwartz? Oh, that's another one. No, he jumped off. He was a successful carnivore YouTuber. My video had the most views that he ever had. I was the reason I think that his channel went into hyperdrive. And then he just got out of it. I don't know what happened. He determined that carnivore wasn't working for him and he went into some other path with some crazy characters and now he's selling insurance. So, yeah, he disappeared. I do want to make a video on him one of these days. I wanted to meet him though. Again, I would like to meet some of these people in person because you're not going to get as much out of meeting someone online as you do in person. You can get a much better idea. I'm really good at reading people when I see them in person. So, all right, let's see. Okay, glad I skipped Mitch today. Yeah, I agree. Ellie, have you been anyway? And the drama spilled over the chat. Okay, we should be here to support each other. I agree 100%. That's what we need to do. I want to see Mitch turn into a rattlesnake. Well, don't turn into a rattlesnake, please, because if I see a rattlesnake, it's going to end up in the kitchen. I love rattlesnake meat. So, maybe turn into a python or something that's not as edible. Okay. Carnivore muscle. I'm feeling fantastic. Good. I've been cutting back drastically on coffee. Yeah, see, if you can ditch the coffee, that's a good thing for most people. 100% Rick. Jonathan says, we all want to be the top dog. If we didn't, we are redundant human beings. As an autistic individual, I work double time to ensure I don't overstep other people's time or energy. Well, again, there's only one Jonathan. I'll never be Jonathan. You think I'm going to be some blonde muscle guy that's over there with extensive experience in nutrition? No, of course not. But the thing is that we can collaborate together because what he doesn't have, I have. And what I don't have, he has. The secret to success, in my opinion, is not being the top or alpha. And it's not being the beta. It's being part of a team, part of a real team. A team that knows that when we do stuff together, we get more done. And I always think of the deserted island. If you're on the deserted island by yourself, you're only going to be able to do so much. But if you had 10 people on the deserted island and you had plenty of resources, you could build huts. You could do all kinds of things. You may end up like Gilligan's Island if you had enough talent and enough materials. So the secret to the carnivore community, you have to remember, if you have a community that is dominated by a leader, that's a weak community. Because what happens when the leader dies or is discredited? That's what always happens. All these people that promote themselves as the center of the community, they all fail. It's just the way it is. But if every one of us has our own little sphere of influence and then we network together, think about like if you're going to build a Wi Fi mesh network. If you have one Wi Fi access point and somebody pulls the plug on it, it's dead. But if you had a bunch of Wi Fi mesh, there was a project that we were doing. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a type of mesh network that would work locally. If you have a mesh network of small connected groups, it is impossible to destroy that because those small groups work with each other. Okay, let's see. Joey was memorable because he looks like a Joey. Okay. Okay. CB Karnak has a question here. What is your take on Carnivore Kip and Carnivore Quest calling out Homestead How, saying they're promoting failure? I was shocked. I was waiting on Carrie to address that. Yeah, I was not happy about that either. You know, I mean, obviously, Carnivore Kip, he likes to get attention, so he's going to put out his failures. But the thing is, I don't think he's doing it in a selfish way. I think it's a call for help. That's what it looks like because, he really wants to improve. And the same thing now, I've heard a lot of things about, Carnivore Quest and all that. But again, they've always treated me nice when I comment on their videos. I really don't know. And you know what? I really don't care. You got a lot of people out there that have issues. I can name some other carnivore channels, which I'm not going to name, that were popular for a while and then they lost popularity. In fact, some of them have fallen off the carnivore bandwagon and have gone to the duck food bandwagon. It really comes down to getting attention. People crave attention and they'll do anything to get it. Notice that a lot of the most popular YouTube channels, they do stupid things to get attention. I mean, think about, what is that, Mr. Beast or that other idiot that does like Rex things. I forget his name. I take one look at those channels and I don't watch them anymore. Because I don't need that. I don't need that kind of silliness. Okay. I made myself a double cup today. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Nourishment rejected. You work a lot. Oh, I understand. Okay. So that's comment there. Carnivore Kip uses appeal to emotion. He did a year ago to draw attention to his channel. I know with time and patience, I would surpass him in subscribers. I am rightfully competitive. Yes, you are. Let's see. That's old news under the bridge. Okay. Let's see. Oh, my goodness. I hate the way this thing jumps around. I'm almost ready to start leaving the live streams when the other guy on Mitch's panel starts smoking his damn cigar too. Makes me nauseated. Well, he's driving his truck, whatever. I gotta send a pen 15 phone. Okay. Wants me to affiliate with a company. All right. I'm gonna have to skip some of these because they seem to have disappeared. Okay. We're all guilty of believing strongly in our opinion. Well, I'm not actually. I know what I like, but I let people do their own thing. And it actually works out good because if the things that other people like to do is different than what I do, it's just less competition for me. If I'm over here grabbing the things I like that people are throwing away, that's a good thing because nobody else is trying to fight me for it. So that actually kind of works out really well. Okay. Rick, do you exercise? No, I do not. The only exercise I do is work, although I do intend to try working out eventually once I'm set up and I have enough food where I can make meaningful gains. We all need to play nice in the carnivore playground. Yes. Same job, sheriff's office. Okay. Jonathan says I only do consults and reduce prices for email consults, neurodiverse individuals. If they're interested, hit me up. Okay. We're all guilty of believing strongly in our opinion. We'll do. Don't care about those cigars. Some people like them, some people don't. The carnivore quack is too overpowered. CB, will you avoid MS channel or just giving the advice? Why would he want to be associated with a smoky cigar club? She came here by the end of the chat. One Rick is enough. Well, that's the only one you're going to get. Why are you making this about you? Joking. Love you, brother, from another mother. Well, thank you very much. You know, I like to share a lot of the things about my life. And I do get a laugh when people accuse me of coloring my hair and, using a filter because I don't. But it's just me. I don't do anything. Kitchen Witch, I'm out. Thanks, Rick. Thank you. Appreciate you. Glad you were here. Good to see you. Or as that what was that TV show they had? Do you remember that show called The Prisoner? They always said, be seeing you, that kind of thing. All right. Okay. Let's see. Joey pretends to be a millionaire. Silver spoon child. Yeah, he comes from a privileged background. I'm out. Okay. She's busy. Have a great day, Tanya. We need more drama in the carnivore community. Or do we? Well, I can get some. I'm going to continue watching Mitch and haven't changed my thoughts. I'm going to watch him too, Peter's a great guy and friend, but I am not the one who got my ass chewed this time. Mitch has chewed me out also. I still think that he chews out the people that he likes, and there is that competition going on. I'm not scared of Mitch, and neither am I. When it comes down to it, if we had a Rick versus Mitch competition, I have a feeling that we would both do quite well. Mitch has a lot of experience, but Rick has a lot of experience too. And even though Rick doesn't look old, Rick is old. So I think we think a lot alike. What is normal these days? Okay. I've been in law enforcement at you. Yes, sheriff, deputy. Yep. See, no hard feelings. I was scared of Rick. Oh, that's funny. And you had nothing to be scared of once. Really, you were once scared of me. It'd be interesting to see why somebody would be scared of me. I'm harmless. I have packages to send Mitch. Well, that's good. Make sure they're not ticking, like in those cartoons. Tick, 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 tick. Oh, it's one of those packages. I actually had one person send me a package. It was a friend of mine, and I looked at it. I go, what is that? Then I realized it was meat. So, yeah. And then when I saw the name on it, I was like, okay, good. It's not going to explode. Okay, I'm out. Yes, okay. Ellen was a jewel. Now she moved on. Yeah, she was there for a little bit. She's commented on my channel too. I don't see her anymore. I'm going to continue watching Mitch. Okay, that's good. Let's see. What is normal these days? I choose to be my own person, even if I lose friends. I used to worry about that. Yeah, see, I'm 59. I'm done with that. Exactly. Who cares? Um, let's see. Okay. You can't fail at carnivore. You know the information. You can always change one day at a time. That is very true. Don't let the fact that Rick looks more like a cannibal than a carnivore scare. People say, I don't want to look in Rick's refrigerator. Well, I show my refrigerator online. Let's see. I am going for a bit. Okay, that's good. CK has failed for 2 years, made a massive proposal about he loves his children and wife. Days later, binges the living crap in his diet. Yeah, that's not good. Okay. Strong opinions, but it is a fact. He's not strong. If I'm a better creator than him, I can say I've conquered the target. I said, sorry if that's rude. But again, I don't worship false idols. Well, good for you. I don't either. Okay, I don't watch that guy anymore in the last 2 years. Mitch pointed out the guy's well-crafted cinematography and background. It's a stick. Yes, that's true. Okay, I'm getting caught up. That's really good. Well, if there's such a thing as a female Mr. Rogers or Bob Ross, you're killing it. Rick, are you really 6'6"? Yes, I am 6'6". You see some of my pictures, you can see how tall I am. I am 6'6". So that makes me the tallest carnivore on YouTube, and I am the longest carnivore in the United States. I have no competition when it comes to that. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a bodybuilder. I have nothing that anybody would want to imitate. So this is a reason why I consider myself to be the carnivore outsider. And for the rest of us that are sort of outsiders, I think we work together because I just have my little quirks. I have things that I like to do. And I'm not easily swayed. I'm one of those people you can't advertise to. No matter how much propaganda you use, it doesn't work on me. I know what I want, and there's no way you can change my mind. It just comes from experience. Okay, let's see what else we got here. I saw one of the greatest clickbait thumbnail for a carnivore channel last night that made it irresistible to click. I died laughing, subscribed to it, and said fat, whatever, ground beef chief. Okay, like the Amish, they have networks of small connected groups and they are very productive and creative. Yes. And you see, if I had my way, I would get a group together and I'd take over a whole county. You could make me the mayor or you can make me on the commission. But I get enough people that think like me in the county, and you would see the most depressed, run-down, broken down county in the whole United States turn into a major tourist destination. It would be like the adult version of, like maybe something you'd find at Disney World, but without all the fakeness. You would have a strong economy and you would have people connected because nothing would get wasted. There wouldn't be any trash being thrown out. Energy use would go down. Food production would go way up. People would be eating quality meat. There would be no junk food. There would be no fast food restaurant. Can you imagine a county like that? McDonald's would come in and build their big corporate box. People would just drive right by it. And they'd go to the diner down the street that looked like something from the 1950s with a big neon sign and a Googie style roof sticking out. And, it says Carnivore Cafe or something like that. And you come in and you have iguana or you have chicken, heart attack chicken or whatever. You go to the city hall and instead of having to wait in line at the metal detector, you just walk right through. You talk to the people you know. It's like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. I need to get a permit for this. No problem. We'll take care of it right now. Oh, you do know that we eliminated building permits for a shed that's less than 500 square feet, so you don't need one. So we'll make your life fun. We'll get rid of needless regulations. You want to set up a fruit stand in your front yard? Go ahead and do it. That's just fine with us. You want backyard chickens? That's it. You know, you're collecting scrap metal and you want to melt it down? That's fine. We got right here blueprints where you can make your own foundry. We'll make your off grid living experience a good one. And that would be what I would do. That's the way I like it. So you have groups of people that meet together instead of fighting all the time. You do what you need to do and you live with other people that you like. All right, let's see. Yes, Rick is 6'6". Wow. I saw that. I didn't click it. Okay. Okay, 380 subscribers. Rick is old. Nah, an old soul. That's what my mother used to call me, the old soul, because I like old stuff. Rick is both a young and old soul at the same time. That is true. Wile E. Coyote package from Acme. Tick, tick. Oh, Wile E. Coyote. Super genius. Okay. Rick belongs in the Guinness book. His face is freaking hilarious. I bet it was a shot of him looking down at the scale. Okay, that must be that other YouTube channel. I should do some carnivore painting like Bob Ross. Too bad you don't show yourself slam dunking at basketball. I could try that. You nailed it. You might also have some reptiles in the bed. Okay. Let's see. Definitely you should. CP Carn Ground Beef Chief. Check him out. Question, Rick. Since you have been carnivore forever, how has your dental health been? Well, I haven't. My teeth are crooked, broken, right here. Got 2 cavities from when I was a kid, but I haven't had any issues ever since. I haven't had my teeth cleaned. They're not yellow. I think they're pretty good. I think they're doing pretty well. Okay. He's been a 600-pound truck driver. It's a shame that a lot of the truck drivers are so obese, but hopefully the carnivore diet will help. Doesn't Rick look a little like T. Bundy? Ted Bundy? Really? I must check. I know Rick doesn't care. I have had people tell me I look like a serial killer, and I think that's one of the reasons why people avoid me. I'm not the kind of person that people will come up to and say hello to. In fact, I go to the store, I go around, no one ever says anything to me. The only good thing is that when I'm driving, they tend to stop and get out of my way.